What is up, coordinators, naturals, and everything in between? We are back, and this week we are diving into the history of the Cosmic Era. Cosmic Era is a part of Gundam's alternate universe in the anime and manga Mobile Suit Gundam Seed. This series is huge in Japan. Some would say this reinvigorated the genre back in 2003, but Western fans seem to have a different overall opinion. Some say that many of the characters in Gundam Seed are one-dimensional, and I say that isn't fair. There are one-dimensional characters that happen to have access to nukes, and boy, do we see a lot of nukes in this series. Directed by Mitsuo Fukuda, this is Gundam's first foray into digital art. And like many rush shows for the time, and even to this day, it was edited heavily when remastered for the home video market. But my god, look at that chin on Kira. You can stab a man's eye out with that chin. Regardless of how you feel about this is happening, simple humans. Push the eject button before it's too late, because we are diving into the Cosmic Era. Unlike Universal Century, the strife between the two warring factions are due to genetic discrimination. In Universal Century, Space Noids were trying to fight for their independence against the Earth Noids, as people on Earth were usually richer, and the billions of people living in space were typically of lower class. In the Cosmic Era, there are two warring factions, the Naturals and the Coordinators. The plant communities, which are this universe's sides, or space colonies, which stands for People Liberation Acting Nation of Technology, began engaging in genetic engineering of humans, creating the Coordinator. The Naturals, or natural-born humans and the antithesis to Coordinators, were becoming worried of the genetic engineering done by the spacefaring colonies and decided to step in. However, there doesn't seem to be any class disparity in the Cosmic Era, or at least the cause of the war was not due to classism, but rather genetic disparity. Let's start off with the Bloody Valentine incident. The lead-up to the Bloody Valentine incident is very similar to the UC timeline. Around CE 30 and all the way up to the 60s, there was a huge boom of coordinators. And with disparity comes radicalism, as the rise in coordinators brings forth Blue Cosmos, an anti-coordinator terrorist group. The Zodiac Alliance, a political organization, was formed by Athrin Zala's father, Patrick Zala, and others from the L5 colony. This essentially became the Zodiac Alliance of Freedom Treaty in CE 68, also known as ZAFT. Now with an emerging army, ZAFT and Plant was seen as a threat to the Earth Alliance. But an army wasn't enough. They needed self-sufficient agriculture. This is where the Junius colonies come into play. Junius 7, 8, 9, and 10 were set to be remodeled for agricultural production to help Plant achieve this goal of self-sufficiency. With the help of their newly produced general-purpose mobile suit, the Jin, it seemed that Plant and ZAFT were becoming the self-sufficient nation they wanted to be. As the colonies were still a sponsored nation from Earth, they were exporting goods to Earth, but with constant attack on the colonies, mostly done by Blue Cosmos. Plant decided to cease exporting goods to Earth. After some bickering back and forth for a few months, on February 11th, CE 70, the Earth Alliance declares war on Plant. During this time, the Agamemnon-class ship, the Roosevelt, leaves for Junius colonies with a particularly new nuclear-powered mobile armor. 3 days after the declaration of war on February 14th, the Roosevelt met up with an ongoing attack on Plant by the Earth Alliance. During this battle, the Roosevelt launched the TS-MA-2 Mobius mobile armor equipped with nuclear weapons. ZAFT's Jin greatly outperformed the Mobius, but in this case, all the mobile armor had to do was survive long enough to launch the weapon of mass destruction. The Mobius targeted and destroyed Junius 7, killing its 1/4 billion inhabitants, including Lenore Zala, mother of Athrin Zala. This event greatly radicalized Patrick Zala, and I'm sure influenced Athrun Zala in the course of Gundam Seed. The Bloody Valentine incident was the start of the war between Plant and Earth Alliance, and only got worse from there. What the Earth Alliance assumed would be a swift ending to the space colonies essentially turned into a battle that dragged out for nearly 11 months in a somewhat stalemate. This incident also led to the invention of the neutron jammer, which would change how nukes are used in battle. The battle will rage on for 11 months before the Battle of Heliopolis, which is where we meet our hero, Kira Yamato. The Orb Union, a neutral country located in New Guinea, also controls the neutral colony Heliopolis. During the past 11 months, the Mobius was seen as inferior to Zaf's Jin units. The Earth Alliance needed something that could compete with the mobile suit. What they needed was a mobile suit that was able to be piloted by a natural. And where is the location of the development and production of these mobile suits? Heliopolis, of course. Not so neutral it seems, Orb. This is why we get such a distraught Kigali in the first episode of Gundam Seed. Of course, Zaft sent a spy to find out that Orb was developing weapons for the Earth Alliance. A small group known as the Le Creuset team
Le Creuset
was ran by the main villain of Gundam Seed, Rao Le Creuset. Rao is a clone of Al Daflaga, father of Mu Laflaga, and his original name was Rao Laflaga. But that information is left saved for a video that I will most likely never make. The Le Creuset team that infiltrates Heliopolis and attempts to steal the new G units consists of Athrun Zala, Isaac, Diarca, Nicole, and, of course, Rusty. Zaf planted bombs as well as sent Jins to distract the Earth Alliance forces, and it worked, as Mu Laflaga sortied to fight the distraction. During this time, the Le Creuset 5 infiltrated the colony. Isaac, Diarca, and Nicole take the first three found in the transport, while Athrun and Rusty go into the base to find the remaining two. He saves the girl, which turns out to be Kigali, but realizes he stumbled onto a military base where the remaining two mobile suits are stored. This is where he meets Murie Ramius, who is a part of the Archangel crew. While the mobile suits were being stolen, the Archangel fell under heavy attack, killing most of its crew. One of the surviving members of the explosion was Ensign Nataru Bajiruru. She was unfortunately the highest ranking survivor and thus assumed command of the Archangel during the assault by Zaf. Also, I never watched the dub, so I have no idea how to pronounce his name in English. Nataral Badgerial? No. Back at the base hangar, Rusty is taken out by the Earth forces. Athrun shoots Murie and goes in for the kill. It is during this time that he realizes that his childhood friend, Kira Yamato, is right in front of him, protecting a natural. We see flashbacks of Athrun Zala and Kira Yamato as childhood friends. Athrun even gives Kira his robot pet bird, Tori, or Birdie. Caught up in the moment, Murie shoots at Athrun as he runs away. She then pushes Kira into the gun. As he is a coordinator, he is able to reprogram and calibrate the Gundam on the fly, something that naturals seem to struggle with. Taking control, Kira defeats the Jin with ease. He is pushed to his limit in his first battle as he saw some of his friends fleeing. During this time, Rao recognizes that one unit was not captured, and it is vital that Strike gets into the hands of Zaft. He also joins the battle. Kira saves his friends and Murie, but Murie, waking up from being unconscious, naturally shoots at children. She forces Kira and his friends to remain by her side since they have seen too much in this battle. On the outside of Heliopolis, Boulaflaga and Raoul Le Creuset engage in battle. They eventually make their way into the colony to find and destroy Strike. But before that could happen, the Archangel takes flight. Kira, now equipped with better artillery, accidentally shoots a hole into Heliopolis while trying to shoot down Raoul Le Creuset. The Strike team eventually meets up with the Archangel. The Le Creuset team regroup back at their ship and sortie again, with the exception of Atherin, as he has been told not to. However, dying to know if it were truly Kira he was fighting, he disobeyed orders. He and the Le Creuset team go down to try to retrieve the Strike unit, facing Kira head-on. As the battle continues, Kira destroys Miguel's Jin unit, a member of the Le Creuset team. During this time, the Archangel takes down a Jin, only to accidentally clip Heliopolis, and the space colony starts falling apart. After confirming his childhood friend is now his enemy, Kira is flung into space as Heliopolis is destroyed. Kira's home is now gone, and he is also met with the reality that his former best friend is now fighting for Zaft. Like it or not, Kira is now a part of this war. Mu Laflaga, Ensign Badriel, and Captain Ramius discuss how to punish Kira for his actions of taking Lacus to the enemy without any direct orders. Ramius states that soldiers would be sentenced to death in situations like this. However, since he is a civilian, they let him off the hook for the most part. Izak tells Diarca and Nikol that once Lacus is delivered and in safe hands, they are to attack the Archangel before they meet up with the 8th Fleet. Izak most likely wants to not let Atherin know of that situation. He has Lacus with him anyway. The Archangel gets an alert that the enemy is nearby. Kira prepares to launch. While he launches, we see a more sociopathic side of Flay. The Duel, Blitz, and Buster Gundam attack the Strike. Mu's mobile armor assists, but his weapons are somewhat useless against the Gundams. The Blitz vanishes. Diarca in the Buster is being distracted by Mu Laflaga, and Kira and Izak in the Duel Gundam engage in battle. The Blitz gets in close to the Archangel and starts to attack. Kira is afraid of the Archangel being destroyed and goes into a rage. Izak takes a lot of damage. They decide to retreat. Mu Laflaga tells Kira that he was unbelievable in that battle. The 8th Fleet finally arrives. Back at Zaft, Atherin safely escorts Lacus to a transport vessel. They say their farewells for now. Ensign Badriel suggests they try to get Kira to stay, as he is a valuable asset, but Ramius tells her they can't pressure him to join the military. Admiral Halberton meets with the Archangel crew. Chief Commander Koji notes that these supplies are mainly used in Earth's atmosphere. Meanwhile, Flay asks if she can enlist in the military. The rest of the civilian crew think it over and decide to enlist as well. Kira talks to a young refugee on the ship who gives him a flower. He begins to board a shuttle before the rest of the crew tell him that they are staying on board. Suddenly, Zaft comes into range of the 8th Fleet. The team leaves to go to their post. Kira doesn't know what to do. He looks at the flower that the little refugee girl gave him. He decides to stay on board. The 8th Fleet prepares for an attack while making their descent into Earth orbit. The newly enlisted soldiers take their position on the bridge. Meanwhile, Flay tries to emotionally manipulate Kira. The Raoul Le Creuset team takes out 4 Earth Alliance ships with ease. The Admiral is witnessing the power of the Gundams. Ramius asks to allow the Archangel to go into Earth orbit first and lead the Le Creuset team away from the 8th Fleet. The Admiral allows it, as it seems that the Archangel is what the Le Creuset team is after. The Strike and Mobius are on standby. While they plan their descent, Kira and Mu launch. Gravity is pulling their units down towards Earth. As the Admiral's ship makes its descent, they launch the shuttle with all of the refugees on board. The Zaft fleet continues attacking the Admiral's fleet while entering the atmosphere. One thing to note is that the Zaft fleet consists of 2 Nazca-class ships and 2 Laurasia-class frigates, with Frau's ship close by. Both the Zaft fleet and the Admiral's ship go down. Kira and the dual Gundam begin to fight. The Mobius returns to the Archangel, but the strike is preoccupied. Also, I really enjoyed the gel shield thingy that they put over the ship. It is a real upgrade to the plastic wrap of the RX-78 Gundam from the original series. While the strike and the dual Gundam battle, the refugee shuttle gets in their way. Isaac shoots down the civilian shuttle, thinking it is fleeing soldiers. Yes, that's right. That little girl that gave Kira the origami flower. She's dead now. Feel that sadness. It seems that the Archangel has landed in Zaft-controlled territory in the Sahara in northern Africa. They intend to land in the Antarctica and are way off. The 8th Fleet is completely decimated, and it is up to them to get back on track, but they now must do it alone. Kira is experiencing a fever, PTSD, and some form of gravity sickness, all in one. It is very taxing on his body. Luckily, Flay is there to comfort him. With sex. She comforts him with sex. Off in the distance, we see a mysterious group led by Kigali, the strange girl that Kira met in Heliopolis. We see Commander Andrew Waltfield enjoying a nice cup of coffee while planning an attack on the Archangel. Waltfield is an ace mobile suit pilot, but he earned his nickname Desert Tiger due to the fact that he was promoted by an advertising agency to raise the will and push Zaft propaganda. It seems Waltfield's Desert Tiger is a reference to German soldier Erwin Rommel's nickname, the Desert Fox. Back on board the Archangel, Mu Laflaga is prepping a new mobile armor that they received from the 8th. Neutron jammers are placed throughout the territory, and they struggle to use their radars. Sound familiar? This is just like Universal Century for the most part. The alarms go off. The crew assembles. Missiles begin striking the area. The strike launches. Kira is struggling to get used to Earth's atmosphere. He is met with agile attack helicopters as well as Bakus. The TMFA 802 Baku takes on a bipedal mammal-like animal with caterpillar treads on its legs. This allows it to traverse the desert with ease, unlike Kira and the strike currently. Like most animals of this nature, the mobile suit focuses on forward movement, so strafing isn't its strong suit. It has a 450mm railgun, a 400mm missile pod, and a twin-beam saber that comes out of its face. The Archangel gives Kira cover fire as he walks around like a drunken person in the desert, but he slowly starts to get the hang of it. Commander Waltfield is watching in the distance. Kira starts to get the upper hand on one of the Bakus. Waltfield notes that he is adapted very quickly. The Baku attacks the Archangel, but Kira returns with suppressing fire. The Archangel needs to get moving quickly. Mu Laflaga suggests going out in the new Skygrasper. Ramius allows Mu to launch. The FX-550 Skygrasper is an aerial support fighter. This fighter was actually designed to work with the Strike Gundam as the unit that mount the Strike Gundam's Striker packs, which we seen last episode, and can help the Strike resupply. It has a 20mm machine gun, a medium caliber cannon, beam cannon, and an anti-ship missile. It launches and helps somewhat, but it isn't enough. Suddenly, an attack comes from the rear. The resistance group comes to aid the Earth Alliance. Kigali tells Kira to lure the Baku north of their current location into a trap. Kira and the resistance group work together. He lures them into position, and Kigali sets off an explosion. Commander Waltfield retreats for now, but he has gathered plenty of data. The EA and the Resistance meet at a rendezvous location. Ramius and Mu meet with the Resistance, which goes by the name Desert Dawn. This group seems to be well informed of the Archangel's current situation. They want to see the mobile suit pilot. Kigali recognizes him from Heliopolis. Kira takes a moment to realize who she is. Also, I want to note that now that Kira has enlisted in the military, he is an ensign, the same rank as Badriel. Nice. Isaac and Diarca are currently in Gibraltar, a Zaft military facility in Iberia. Raoul Le Creuset wants the two to remain on Earth and search for the Archangel in an attempt to destroy it. Diarca is not happy to be staying on Earth, but Isaac is dead set on destroying the Strike Gundam. Kigali questions how he is now with the Earth Alliance. Kira tells her it's complicated because she didn't watch our last Cosmic Era video. Kigali is also hiding a secret amongst her fellow resistance fighters. They will talk about this secret soon enough. Desert Dawn leader Sahib Ashman suggests that they go through Gibraltar to get to Antarctica or through the Pacific Ocean, but ultimately getting past Waltfield and the Lesseps is the hard part. Ashman tells the officers that the people of this area are ultimately forgotten and that both Zaft and the Earth Alliance constantly fight over territory that isn't theirs. Kigali goes to find Kira, but when she does, she finds that Flay told Sai that she was with Kira last night. Kira and Sai squabble. Kigali wasn't probably looking for this drama when she went to go find Kira. Suddenly, Commander Waltfield begins their attack once again. They attack Desert Dawn's village. Kira and the Archangel crew take defensive positions. The Resistance and EA crew run into villagers. No one was dead because Commander Waltfield warned the town before burning it down. Also, Mulaflaga essentially calls their village useless. Classic. The Desert Dawn team go out to attack. Kira launches in the strike. Oh, and what is Flay doing during all of this? The Resistance fighters are simply equipped with jeeps and some missile launchers. These people are savage. However, missile launchers aren't enough for the Baku. The Baku starts taking out Resistance soldiers. Kigali jumps out of the jeep. However, the Baku attacks and takes out Ahmed, one of the Kid Resistance fighters. Gundam Seed really hates children. The Strike comes in to assist Desert Dawn. Kira has figured out that he must use heat convection to take out units in the desert, whatever that means. Kira takes out some of the Bakus, but Waltfield himself comes in a third unit. Kira uses precision coordinator movements. He slows down one unit with his shield, damages another. Kira gets under the Baku and destroys it with his beam rifle. Waltfield goes for the strike, but Kira uses his beam saber and takes out their treads. Waltfield retreats. Back at the rendezvous point, Kira continues a mobile suit tradition and slaps Kigali for being so reckless. Kira and Kigali are dropped off in a Zaft-controlled town. They stop and get some doner kebab. While eating, the Desert Tiger himself, Andrew Waltfield, disguised as Luffy, strikes up a conversation. While this is happening, a gang of Blue Cosmos terrorists attack the city. They all help in defending the city. Kira tries for a non-lethal attack, but Waltfield kills them anyways. He reveals himself as Andrew Waltfield and invites them to his home. Kigali takes a bath due to all the kebab sauces in her hair, and... What's up? They changed it to a shower in the remastered edition. Okay, that makes sense. They probably wanted to tone down the sexy. Huh? They made it sexier? Why? Meanwhile, Kira and Waltfield talk about coffee and space whales. While this is going down, Badriel and some crew members are pretending to be civilians to get their hands on some supplies. Prices are high in this part of the world. Back at Watfield's, he states that he knows that Kira is the mobile suit pilot that he fought from earlier, and that Kira is a coordinator. Watfield allows Kira and Kigali to leave for helping save his life earlier. On the Archangel, Sai tries to prove himself and fails miserably. I believe the purpose of this scene, and parts of the scene with Watfield, is to show that Kira truly is exceptionally talented. However, we are told that the strike is designed to be piloted for naturals, so I am not sure. The scene can't just be to show how much Sai sucks, right? That's just mean. Back at the plant council, Siegel Klein and Patrick Zala discuss Operation Spitbreak for the first time. We will get into this in a later episode. The council approve of the operation. Rao is informed of the situation. Meanwhile, Atherin and Lacus have a date night.
If it was love, even right in front of his eyes, he wouldn't recognize if it was love. If it was love.
Sai is currently in the brig for attempting to pilot the strike Gundam. Kigali is currently running a mobile suit simulation and is killing it. In Kira's headquarters, he is starting to realize that Flay might be a little sociopathic. Diarca and Izak meet up with Andrew Watfield. They are essentially put on the back burner as their units aren't equipped for the mission. This pisses off Izak. The Lesseps class goes out. The Desert Dawn and Archangel prepares for attack. Kira launches with the L Striker Pack. Striker Packs were designed to go with the Strike Gundam and the Skygrasper. Each pack has a different use, but they all have an additional battery support that gives the Strike more time on the battlefield without resupplying. However, the Strike's phase shift armor must be powered down before changing packs, leaving it vulnerable to attack. Kira equips the Striker with the Ale Striker Pack. This pack was designed to enhance movement in zero gravity, but in this case, Kira intends on using it in gravity to float and jump high. Kira and Mu launch. Watfield and Aisha launches in the orange Lagao. The TMF-8 803 Lagao is a Baku in many ways, but unlike the Baku, this mobile suit has short-range and anti-mobile suit capabilities. It also is a two-seater, which is how Aisha is able to join in the battle. It also has claws. The Lesseps class ship is not alone. A Petrie class ship appears and corners the Archangel. Mu attempts to protect the ship. Kigali is frustrated with the Archangel crew. She hops on board and pilots the Skygrasper 2. The Lesseps class is a heavy cruiser mainly used to carry mobile suits. The Petrie class seems just like a tiny version of a Lesseps class ship. Not a lot of thought went into Zaf's Earth cruisers in the Cosmic Era. Kigali and Mu and the Grasshoppers take out the Petrie class. The Archangel is able to turn around and get the upper hand on the Lesseps. Watfield calls for a retreat. He attacks the Strike. The Strike's energy is depleted. The phase shift armor powers down. Kira ejects the L Striker Pack, grabs his knife, and attacks the Lagao, destroying the unit. Kira is sad that he had to kill Watfield. Or did he? The Archangel makes its way towards the Red Sea. Kigali is adamant about joining the Archangel on the journey. Mu questions who she really is. Meanwhile, this is the closest that a Gundam show has got to a beach episode. Kira and Kigali try to have a conversation, but Flay is too insecure to allow that to happen. Luckily, an attack on the Archangel begins. Dins are in the vicinity of the ship. The AMF-101 Din took note from a Jin tactical air unit, as well as some elements of the Sigu, which we see Rao Le Creuset pilot in a few episodes. Its weapon set is similar to that of a Jin, but are designed for Earth atmosphere, unlike the Jin. They are over the ocean and Kira can't fly. Mula Flaga launches in the Skygrasper 1. The Skygrasper 2 is not ready for launch. The Strike peeks out of the launch ramp and tries to get a shot, but fails. Kira suggests diving in the water as some goons appear. He does so. The UMF-4A goon was an evolution of the Jin FEMW and is an aquatic mobile suit. The unit is able to fold its legs into its body for maximum hydrodynamics. It has a maser cannon, which is a powerful sonic weapon, a torpedo launcher, and a dart launcher. Above the water, Mu and the Skygrasper and the Archangel are able to handle the dens. Underwater, the Strike goes in with his knife, but he gets his hands on the beam cannon and takes out the goon. Killing the goon reminds Kira of Watfield. Back at Zaft, Diarca and Izak really want to join Carpinteria to fight the Archangel. Rao allows Izak, Diarca, Nicol, and Athrun to go, but puts Athrun in command. More goons are making their way towards the Archangel. The Strike launches with the Sword Striker Pack. This Striker Pack is designed for close-range combat, and it has a giant-ass sword. It also has a rocket, anchor, and a beam boomerang. It can also be used underwater, which is how Kida intends on using it. Athrun makes his way towards the action in a transport vessel. Kigali and Mu launch in the Skygrasper. Both Skygraspers launch anti-sub missiles towards the subs below. The Archangel decides to do a barrel roll, so their Gottfried cannon is in line with the goons in the water. Okay, stepping in during editing to note that the Archangel team is fighting goons, but the leader of the attack is piloting the Xeno. The UMF-5 Xeno is an amphibious mobile suit that focuses on short-range attacks, whereas the Goon were more focused on long-range firepower. It has torpedo launchers, a close combat claw, and a phonon maser cannon. Anyways, let's watch it get destroyed. Everyone hold on for dear life, as they are in Earth atmosphere and gravity and such. They are able to get a direct hit. Kigali gets sloppy and gets hit by an oncoming transport vessel carrying Athrun. Kigali goes down. Athrun launches his mobile suit in case the ship goes down, which it does. They both end up landing on an isolated island somewhere in the Red Sea. On the island, Kigali runs into Athrun. She doesn't hesitate and shoots him in the arm. Athrun makes his escape out of the valley. Kigali thinks he ran away, but he comes back and jumps on top of her. Kigali screams out thinking she is about to die. Athrun hesitates. He actually realizes that Kigali is a girl. One thing not mentioned is that there are constant references to Kigali being mistaken as a guy. She is supposed to be a tomboy, or at least an anime interpretation of a tomboy. Athrun doesn't end up killing her. Back at the Archangel, Kira launches to search for Kigali. At Carpinteria Base, the rest of the Le Creuset team is informed that Athrun's carrier was shot down. Diarca and Izak laugh at Athrun's expense. On the island, Athrun unties Kigali from her restraints after almost drowning herself. Athrun tells Kigali that his mother died on Junia 7 during the Bloody Valentine incident. Kigali goes for Athrun's gun. They have a sexy standoff. Kigali throws the gun at Athrun and he is grazed with another bullet yet again. Kigali treats his wounds. The next morning, the Strike comes and finds Kigali. Athrun and Kigali part ways. For now. Some time has passed. The Zala team, since Rao isn't involved anymore, attacks the Archangel. Kida and Mu Laflaga are doing their best to defend the ship. The Blitz, Aegis, and Dual Gundam are all riding on ghouls while Kida is on top of the Archangel. Since the Gundams can't fly in Earth's atmosphere, they fly on top of these things. Kida destroys Izak's ghoul. He falls into the water. Kida jumps and knocks Nicol off his ghoul as well. The Archangel is taking a lot of damage. Below them, a fleet appears. It is an Orb fleet. Remember, the Orb Union is a neutral country. If the Archangel gets too close to Orb, the Orb fleet will engage in battle. However, Kigali suggests that they push through, and she will handle talking to Orb. Orb gives Zaft and Earth Alliance a warning. Kigali gets on the radar and informs Orb to get her father on the line, Uzumi Nada Atha, the leader of Orb. Orb Union attacks both forces. Zaft make their retreat. Orb eventually allows the Archangel to enter Orb territory. Back with the Zala team, Athrun calls Izak a bitch and develops a plan to sneak into Orb and find the Archangel. Meanwhile, Carpinteria will put pressure on Orb for harboring an enemy. Mu, Badriel, and Ramius meet with the Ministry of Orb and Uzumi Nada Atha. He notes that it wasn't because of her daughter on board the Archangel that they didn't attack. It is because he wants Archangel's cooperation in allowing them to collect data from the Strike Gundam and for Kira himself to work with Morgenrot. Now, a few things to note here. Remember that the colony Heliopolis was also a part of the Orb territory. Also a part of Orb territory is Morgenrot, an Orb state-owned company that manufactures weapons similar to Anaheim Electronics in the UC timeline. Morgenrot also helps the Atlantic Federation manufacture all of the G Project weapons, including the Strike. Orb wants the data from the Strike to help with their mass-produced Astray. The MBF M1 Astray is a mass-produced lightweight mobile suit that was designed with the L Striker packs as reference. Because of this, the Astray can fly around in Earth atmosphere in short bursts. It has a beam rifle, 75mm Vulcan guns, and a pair of beam sabers. We will be coming back to the Astray and its variants quite a bit. Ultimately, Ramius agrees and shares the data of the Strike. On the other side of the island, the Zala team sneaks into neutral territory. At Orb, the Archangel is getting fixed. Meanwhile, senior engineer of Morgenrot, Erica Simmons, is going over the collected data from the Strike and the data from Kisaka, who was the guy following Kigali around throughout the series. Once collected, Kigali and Erika show Kira the M1 Astray. We talked about this last video, but this is essentially Orb's mass-produced unit. Kigali tells Kira that the Orb Union wants to remain neutral and doesn't want to have any foreign nations invading them. Usually, in situations like this, other fighting nations will pressure the neutral nations or even force their hand to go to war. By having the production of mobile suits, this guarantees that they can defend themselves. Kigali is still mad at her dad for Orb helping the Earth Alliance, even though Uzumi didn't know anything about it. Erika shows off the Astray to Kira before telling him that she wants Kira to develop an operating system for the mass-produced mobile suit. Meanwhile, the Zala team is still trying to infiltrate the neutral colony. They receive fake badges and make their way towards Morgenrot. At the Ministry of Orb, Uzumi looks at a file on Kira Yamato. He wonders about his past. The Archangel crew are able to meet with their parents while on leave. However, one family isn't with the rest. The Yamato family meets with Atha. It appears Uzumi Atha knows the Yamato family. Kira is working on the operating system. Flay wonders why he isn't visiting with his parents. Flay makes the situation about herself, of course. The team say their farewells to their parents with the exception of Kira. It is clear that he is ignoring his parents. It seems he is somewhat upset that he is a coordinator. Tori flies away. Kira chases Tori outside to find that the Zala team is right there with Tori. Kira and Athrun recognize each other but pretend that they don't, as they both know what's about to happen in the near future. Athrun gives Kira his bird back and walks away. Colonel Kasaki informs Ramius that Carpinteria is most likely the most concerning enemy adjacent to their location. He also thanks the officers for helping to bring Kigali home. Meanwhile, the Zala team are patiently waiting for the Archangel to leave Orb territory. Because Kigali will not be joining the crew when they make their departure, Toll volunteered to be the pilot of the Skygrasper 2, as he is second to Kigali in the simulator. Uzumi and Kigali have a talk. He thinks that Kigali's sense of heroism is selfish and that fighting with the Earth forces won't stop war. She decides to stay at Orb for now. Kira and Kigali say their goodbyes. Kira tells Kigali to apologize to his parents for him. They make their departure from Orb. The Orb fleet leaves the Archangel. As planned, the Zala team was waiting for them. Kira, of course, knew this too, so he was ready, waiting in the strike. The Aegis, Buster, Blitz, and Duel, all riding ghouls, begin their attack. The Archangel lays down a smokescreen. The strike is on top of the Archangel using the Launcher Striker. The Launcher Striker pack is a long-range weapon striker. It has a bombardment support control system and a 320mm hyper impulse cannon. Besides the second episode, I believe, it is rare for the strike to use the launcher striker pack. Usually Mu LaFlaga uses it with the Sky Grasper. Mu and Toll launch in the Sky Graspers. Kida begin using the launcher. The Zala team scatters. The strike begins fighting them 1v1 while the Archangel's valiant cannons give supporting fire. The launcher pack is depleted and the phase shift armor goes down as Kida ejects the striker pack. They prep the L striker pack that is attached to Mu's Sky Grasper. This is the first time we see a Sky Grasper transfer a new striker pack to the strike during mid-battle. This is the striker pack's intended use, longevity and firepower on the battlefield. Kida knocks the Blitz off its ghoul and takes it for himself. He destroys Atherin's ghoul as well. Toll currently has the Sword Striker pack equipped and is ready to send it to Kida. Kida equips the Striker pack. Atherin and Kida fight. The strike has the upper hand, but Nico comes in to help Atherin. Unfortunately, the Blitz Gundam only had one hand. Kida uses the sword and kills Nico, destroying the Blitz. The strike makes its retreat, as does the Zala team, but not before Atherin goes in shock for a moment. Back at the Archangel, Mu tells Kida that he is in war, and if he wants to win this war, he should stop hesitating. The Archangel is struggling to make contact with Alaska, which is their next destination. Back at the Vazgulav sub, Atherin mourns the loss of Nico. He promises that he will kill Kida, but not for too long. As the team preps to attack the Archangel once again, the team launches on their ghouls. Kida and Mu launch and engage with the dual Aegis and Buster. Mu is equipped with the Launcher Striker pack. The Aegis takes out one of the Archangel's cannons. Toll goes out in the Sky Grasper 2. The duel and Aegis double team Kida. He is able to take out the duel's leg and the Aegis' ghoul. Kida and Atherin land on a nearby island and continue their battle. The Archangel crash lands on the island as well. Mu is able to take out the Buster's ghoul and arm. The Buster Gundam is failing. Diarca looks over at the Archangel and notices the cannons pointed right at him. There is nothing he could do but surrender. While the strike and Aegis fight, Toll comes in to support with the Sky Grasper. Atherin throws his shield right at him, killing him instantly. Kida cries out in pain. Both have just lost a friend. The two are prepared to fight to the death. Both of their power is low. Their phase shift armor turns off. Atherin turns the Aegis into its mobile armor form and grasps onto the strike. He activates his self-destruct and bails. Kida is trapped in the strike when both the strike and Aegis explode. Both the strike and the Sky Grasper 2 have lost signal with the Archangel. The engineering team is trying to get the ship back up in order to take off very soon. Also, Diarca has been taken as a prisoner, and the crew has taken the Buster Gundam back. Dins begin approaching the Archangel. Luckily, they are able to get the ship off the ground. The Sky Grasper 1 is not ready to launch. They continue to try to contact Alaska, but don't get a response. They decide to send a message to Orb instead. Back at the Vazgulav sub, Izak is the only remaining member of the Zala team. Atherin and Diarca are both MIA. Raul LeCreuset orders the sub to return to base. An Orb Union team, including Kigali and Kisaka, go to investigate the island. They find the strike, but no pilot. Near the beach, however, Kigali finds a passed-out Atherin. Orb takes the strike and Atherin. Kigali confronts Atherin and tells Kigali that he killed Kida. Atherin tells Kigali that they were friends when they were younger. Flay also finds out that Kida is MIA. Kigali gives Atherin back to Zaft. She gives him a necklace to protect him. Kida wakes up to find that he is in the presence of Lacus. The Archangel finally makes its way to Alaskan territory, but they are left on standby and can't leave the ship. At Alaska, a group of Earth Alliance members discuss the Cyclops system and the new GAT series of Gundams in the works. Back at Carpinteria Base, Zaft preps for a major assault. Rao visits Athrun and tells him that he is being promoted and will now be reporting directly to the National Defense Committee. Rao will no longer be his commanding officer. Also, Athrun will return home, where he will be the pilot of a new mobile suit that Zaft has been working on. Rao also tells him that his father, Patrick Zolla, has been appointed Plant's Supreme Council chairman. This position was previously held by Siegel Klein. Remember, Klein was a more moderate person in his beliefs, whereas Zolla is more radical. This change in power definitely is a sign of more radical moves on Zaft's end. Back on Asperius 1, Lacus takes care of Kira. Reverend Machio comes and tells Kira that he brought him to Asperius 1. Now just a reminder, Kira was on Earth heading towards Alaska. Now the plants are all located over here. There's no way he got all the way to the plants while passed out. Anyways, I digress. Reverend Machio acts as a communicator between Zaft and the Earth Alliance, and not for or against either side. Machio has helped create non-aggression treaties between Zaft, EA, and Orb for the Junk Guild, which plays a big role in Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Astray. More on that later. Rao preps for Operation Spitbreak. Zaft plans on attacking the Alaskan base, but Rao's version of the operation might be a little different than the rest of Zaft's. Meaty goes to the medbay to find Diarca there. Meaty grabs a knife and decides to take out her frustration on Diarca. Flay finds a gun and pulls it out on Diarca as well. Flay loves a little crazy, so she jumps in. Meaty sees Flay's psychopathy and realizes that she doesn't want to be anything like her. She decides to save Diarca's life at that moment. Look at these eyes, man. On Alaska, the officers of the Archangel meet with the EA. They essentially debrief the higher-ups on their journey. One of the men asking questions is Captain William Sutherland. During this meeting, it is clear that Sutherland is anti-coordinator and pro-Blue Cosmos. The meeting is adjourned. Sutherland tells Badriel, Mu Laflaga, and Flay that they are being transferred. When asked why Flay, Sutherland notes that she joined the military after her father died and that she will be used as a propaganda icon for the Earth Alliance, and more likely, Blue Cosmos. As Athrun is now a part of Special Forces, he makes his leave from Carpinteria Base. He says his farewell with Izak. Back at the Archangel, Flay and Badriel say their farewells to the captain as they make their way to their new post. Mu is mad that he is being transferred to California to be a pilot instructor. Remius is sad to see him go. The Archangel is to join the Alaska Defense Force 5th Escort Group. Patrick Zolla gives the go for Operation Spitbreak. He tells Zaft forces that they will be attacking Joshua at Alaska instead of Panama. Both Zaft and the Earth Alliance expected this giant operation to go down in Panama, but it looks like it is a direct attack on EA headquarters. Many of EA forces are stationed in Panama for this reason. Because of this, Alaskan forces aren't at 100%. The switch from Panama to Alaska also is something that Patrick Zolla did behind the backs of the Supreme Council. Zaft enters the Earth atmosphere. The attack begins. Alarms go off. Mu runs off to figure out what is going on. Jins, Dins, Bakus, and Sigus all form on Joshua with insurmountable forces. Raul Crusette is in his Sigu. The ZGMF 515 Sigu was supposed to be a mass-produced successor to the Jin, but because of the release of the G-weapons, Zaft shifted focus. The Archangel prepares for attack without a mobile suit team. Meanwhile, Kira decides he can't sit around and do nothing while an attack takes place on Earth. The battle wages on. Rao lands at the Alaskan base. How so easy? Who knows? He runs into Mu, and they battle with pistols. Rao runs away with Flay and takes her hostage. Mu finds a computer with information regarding the current mission taking place. Lacus gives Kira a Zaft uniform to wear. They sneak onto the base where they find the new Freedom Gundam. The ZGMF X-10A Freedom Gundam was reverse engineered from the G project by Orb and the Atlantic Federation. This Gundam has everything. Everything? Everything. We are talking Vulcans, beam sabers, railguns, beam rifles, anti-beam shields. It has a multi-lock system, an N-jammer canceller, has a phase shift armor, and a meteor unit that makes it even stronger, damn it! I know this is a Japanese anime, but this is the most American Gundam ever. I'm looking at you, Gundam Baxter from G Gundam. You are nothing. Nothing. Both the Freedom and Justice were created by Patrick Zolla and the Plant Supreme Council. I guess since Lacus's dad isn't the chairman anymore, she decided it's time to do a little bit of war crimes. Kira takes off in the Freedom Gundam. The Archangel does its best to defend the base. Raoul Creuset looks at the battle from afar. He notes that the Eurasian fleets and the Archangel-class ships are taking most of the attack currently. Mu finds a fighter jet and takes off as the base is infiltrated by Zaft soldiers. Meanwhile, some of the Atlantic Federation higher-ups are plotting something. The only response that the base is getting is to hold the line. No enforcement from Panama has shown up yet. Mu flies towards the Archangel. It takes a hit and crash lands on the ship. Mu tells Captain Remius that the Cyclops system is set up below Alaskan headquarters. It will blow once the defense line has been broken. The Panama forces simply won't be here in time, and everything in a 10-kilometer radius will be vaporized. Not only that, but specifically the Archangel ship, which since all mobile suits of the G Project are now destroyed for the most part, has no role. Also, as mentioned earlier, Eurasian Federation ships are involved. It is clear this plot is done by the Atlantic Federation and by extension, Blue Cosmos. Based on this information, Remius decides to abandon the battlefield and retreat, as this is a lose-lose situation. Mu goes back out in the Skygrasper. The main gate at the base is about to go down. The Dual Gundam goes out to search for and destroy the Archangel. Izak takes out the Launcher Striker pack equipped to the Skygrasper. The Archangel is getting attacked. Its balancer is off and they slowly descend. A handful of Dins suddenly come in and attack the ship. Mu is busy with the Dual Gundam to help. A Din is about to destroy the Archangel ship until suddenly a mobile suit from above takes it out. It is Kira in the Freedom Gundam. Kira takes out an entire fleet. Captain Remius tells Kira about the plan. Kira then opens a broadcast to both Zaft and Earth, telling them to flee the location before the base explodes. Kira immobilizes Izak as he keeps fighting him and doesn't retreat. Meanwhile, EA activates the Cyclops system. Everyone flees for their lives. Zaft looks on in dismay. Rao says that they've been had, but he lets out a big grin. Say, is he playing both sides? I think he's playing both sides. Atherin makes it back to Asperius 1. He is informed that Operation Spitbreak is a failure, and that Lacus Klein is now an enemy of the state for taking one of the new mobile suits. Atherin is in shock. Atherin goes to meet his father, who is now the Supreme Council chairman. His father assigns Atherin to take out the Freedom Gundam using the new Justice Gundam. The reason this unit must not be in the hands of the enemy is because it is equipped with an N-jammer canceller. Now remember, the neutron jammer disrupts radio waves, neutralizes radar, and messes with precision-guided weapons. The neutron jammer canceller makes neutron fission possible, removing any radio disturbances. The Gundam acronym for the Justice and Freedom is Generation Unsubdued Nuclear Drive Assault Module. The creator of the N-jammer canceller is Yuri Almafi, father of Nicole. While prepping the Justice, Atherin apologizes to Yuri for what happened to Nicole. He definitely appears to be motivated by his son's death. Kira meets with the Archangel team. He tells the team that he is no longer fighting for Earth or Zaft. He also lets them know about the N-Jammer Canceller. They debrief on the Cyclops system and how Zaft switched their attack from Panama to Alaska. Kira tells Ramius that Plant didn't know about this plan either. The Archangel crew are also unsure of what they should do. Because they left the battlefield, they would be considered deserters and would probably be executed for it. They wonder if they should take their chances with Orb. Sai tells Kira that Flay has been transferred off the ship. Meanwhile, one thing that Patrick Zala told Atherin is that all associates involved with the theft of the Freedom must be killed. Atherin realizes that this means Lacus must die as well. He goes to look for her. He finds Pink-chan, which means Lacus must be nearby. He finds her in a theater singing. Lacus confirms to Atherin that Kira is still alive and that Atherin didn't end up killing his friend. Lacus asks Atherin, what is he fighting for? Atherin was followed by Zaft. They try to kill Lacus, but Atherin protects her. Some of Lacus's men come to save her. She leaves, making Atherin question everything about what he is fighting for. Atherin finally launches in the Justice Gundam. Like the Freedom, the ZGMF X09A Justice Gundam has more or less infinite power due to its nuclear reactor, phase shift armor, multi-lock-on system, and of course, an N-Jammer Canceller. Exclusive to the Justice is the Phantom 00. With the help of the Phantom 00, the Justice can enter high mobility aerial tactic, or high map mode, for higher acceleration and mobility. This makes the Justice extremely fast. The Phantom 00 can also be used similar to the Ghoul. Atherin goes on the hunt for Kira. The Archangel makes its return to Orb. Uzumi tells the Archangel crew that the Atlantic Federation has been putting pressure and they will officially become enemies soon if they don't join and support the EA. Also, a reminder, when the Cyclops system destroyed Joshua, it took out a good chunk of the Eurasian Federation with it. Now the Atlantic Federation is the majority of the EA and allows Blue Cosmos to sneak its way into the mix. The Atlantic Federation is now taking a hard stance on coordinators. Meanwhile, Rao and Zaft are on their way to Panama to take out the Panama mass driver. This will cripple Earth's gateway into space and leave them stuck on Earth. Rao invites his prisoner, Flay, to observe the upcoming battle. The attack begins. One of the pilots on the front line is Ezek and the duel. Pillboxes aren't enough to take out Zaft's forces. On the battlefield, defending Panama is the Strike Dagger mobile suit from the 13th Autonomous Corps. The GAT-01 Strike Dagger is a mass-produced mobile suit that is based off the Strike Gundam. Unlike the Gundam, the Strike Dagger doesn't have phase shift armor and striker packs. It also has an OS that can be used by natural pilots. This was created by the Omni Enforcer, which is an arm of the Atlantic Federation and mainly composed of Blue Cosmos members. Zaft launches Gungans throughout Panama. These are giant EMPs. The machines go off and the power goes out. Zaft are able to destroy the mass driver and take out Panama forces. Back at Morgenrot, Erika shows Kira they fixed up the strike and added a natural OS to the mobile suit. Mulaflaga wants to pilot the strike. He also acknowledges he is no longer an EA officer. The strike and Freedom do a little training. The Earth Alliance Council consists of representatives of all the Alliance member nations. This must have been a really awkward meeting for the Eurasian Federation representative. During this meeting, we meet Murata Azrael, the president of Blue Cosmos. Azrael will go to any lengths to ensure the destruction of the coordinators. He wants to pressure Orb, but most likely he just wants to test his new mobile suits. They send a message to Orb telling them that if they don't assimilate with the EA, they will be considered helping Zaft and an enemy to the EA. Remius informs the crew that they are no longer under her command, and if they wish to leave, they can. However, everyone stays to support their captain. Everyone except Kazui. Meaty tells Diarca that he is no longer a prisoner of war since they aren't enemies anymore. Athrun meets up with Reverend Machio, while Mu finally makes his moves on Remius. Azrael and the EA begin their attack far off the shores of the borders of Orb. The Archangel takes off. The Estrays also join the battle. They run into strike daggers. Kira and the Freedom and Mu and the Strike launch. The new Earth pilots Orga, Clotho, and Shani launch in the new GAT Gundams. The GAT X-252 Forbidden Gundam is piloted by Shani. It has a high-speed assault form and uses the X-200 frame, like the Blitz Gundam. Its specialty weapon is the Geschmeidig Panzer, which is an energy deflection weapon. It also has a transphase armor, which is superior to the phase shift armor. The GAT X-131 Calamity Gundam is piloted by Orga. It is designed using the X-100 series frame and inherits the Buster Gundam's artillery attack concept. It doesn't have a mobile assault mode, so it rides on top of the Rider Gundam to go into battle. This is a long-range mobile suit and has a 337mm plasma sabot bazooka, a long-range beam cannon, energy cannons, and an anti-beam shield. It also is equipped with the trans-phase armor. The GAT X-370 Raider Gundam is piloted by Clotho. The Raider takes after the Aegis Gundam and also uses the X-300 frame. Like the Aegis, the Raider has a mobile armor mode. It also uses the transphase armor and uses the Mjolnir spherical breaker as its melee weapon. This short-ranged attack uses a mace on a wire and spins so it can block, beam, and shell weapons. Kira rains fire. Mu is still trying to get adjusted to the strike. The Calamity, Raider, and Forbidden begin their attack on Orb. Strike comes in with the Sword Striker. The Forbidden deflects Freedom's beam attacks. The Archangel is getting heavily attacked. Suddenly, Diarca in the Buster Gundam comes in and helps the Archangel escape. The three Gundams overwhelm the Freedom, but Athrun in the Justice comes in to save Kira. If you're watching the remastered edition, there is a brief moment where you see Shin Asuka and his family retconned into this scene. Shin will play a much bigger role in Destiny. Raider Gundam comes in and attacks Justice. Orgo, Clotho, and Shani are all fighting chaotically and getting in each other's way. Freedom and Justice double-team Calamity Gundam. It also seems like the Strike has the Ale, Sword, and Launcher Striker all equipped at once. I didn't know you could do that. Orga and Shani fight against themselves. Suddenly, they are impacted by some issue. They say they are out of time, and they retreat with the rest of EA forces. Athrun tells Kira that he has no intentions of fighting him or his men, even though that is what his orders are. He wants to have a conversation with Kira. Athrun and Kira meet face to face. Kigali comes in and gives them both a hug. Athrun apologizes for killing Toll, and Kira apologizes for killing Nicole. Back at Earth Forces, the three new Gundam pilots are all freaking out. This is because they are biological CPUs. These biological CPUs were conditioned, trained, and abused from a young age to produce a result for naturals similar to that of a coordinator. However, they are unstable mentally and physically because of this. They must take gamma-glypheptin if they ever have an episode. This drug provides dopamine and adrenaline, and if they don't take this drug, they end up dying. The EA technically treats the biological CPUs as products and not humans. There are doctors and scientists constantly monitoring them. After a dose of gamma-glypheptin, they are ready for round 2. Orb prepares for another attack. Uzumi and Kigali are frustrated that Earth Alliance won't even attempt to have talks and would rather attack. Kira goes back out in the Freedom. If Earth truly does plan on destroying Orb, then this may be a tough battle for them to win. Calamity and Freedom begin fighting. Raider comes in. Athrun decides to join the battle and help Kira. Kigali wants to fight, but she needs to learn how to be a commander. Izak and Rao are watching the battle from a Vazgulav sub. Rao tells Izak that Flay may be the key. Raider and Forbidden return to the ship. Calamity follows suit after Freedom does some damage and their power drains from the mobile suit. Azrael notes that the biological CPUs are good enough to fight against coordinators. Since the EA retreats yet again, it gives Orb time to talk. Uzumi Atha gives the orders for Orb to retreat while the higher-ups stay behind and self-destruct the Kaguya, which is Orb's mass driver system and its armaments factory. The people have been evacuated, so the destruction won't leave a scar on their people. You know. Except Shin's family? Uzumi forces Kigali to get on her ship, the Kusanagi, and leave her father to defend the nation. She fights him. The Archangel takes off with the Buster and Strike to defend it. Justice and Freedom fight Calamity, Raider, and Forbidden as the Kusanagi preps for takeoff. Uzumi calms Kigali down by telling her that she will be with her brother. Uzumi gives Kigali a picture of her as a baby with a twin boy. That boy just so happens to be Kira. This was the secret that the Yamato family was trying to keep from Kira in our last episode. The Kusanagi takes off. The Justice and Freedom hitches a ride while defending the ship. They are able to successfully launch into space using the mass driver system. On Orb, Uzumi self-destructs the base and the Kaguya. Kira watches as the once allied nation goes up in flames. Kigali cries out for her father. The Kusanagi is fully deployed and space ready. Kigali is still mourning the death of her father. Ramius and Mu get a tour of the Kusanagi, which is Orb's Izumo class ship. The Izumo class has a modular design and can be split into 3 parts: the front, center, and rear. Part B can be used for atmospheric re-entry and also be sent up into Orb using the mass driver. Well, it used to be able to, as both the Kusanagi and the Archangel were both built by Morgenrot. The Archangel adapted many of the designs of the Izumo class. It also has a plasma blaster cannon, a Gottfried cannon like the Archangel, a multi-barrel CIWS, and missile launcher. Its specialty weapon is the plasma booster, which helps the ship get into orbit without the help of the mass driver system. However, as we saw last time, the Archangel used the plasma booster to get into space, and the Kusanagi used the mass driver system. While on board the Kusanagi, Mu Laflaga wonders if Athrun knows what he is throwing away by fighting with them. Athrun chooses to fight with them, however. He also tells them that they once found people hiding in an abandoned Mendel colony around the L4 point, and that they should head there and use the colony to gain supplies. In the plants, Patrick Zolla tells the world that Lacus Klein is a traitor. Wait a minute, is that Shin as a cadet? Didn't his parents die like yesterday? Anyways, Siegel Klein is assassinated by Patrick Zolla. While Klein is broadcasting a message to his people, Lacus Klein is also sending her own message of peace. Lacus Klein is informed that the Battle of Victoria is going in favor of the EA and their new Strike Dagger mobile suit. She is also informed that her father was just assassinated. Meanwhile, Azrael believes that the 2 units he saw at Orb are nuclear powered. Back on the Archangel, Kigali tells Kira that they are twins. She doesn't really understand the how or the why though, and neither does Kira. But he suggests to remember that no matter what, Uzumi is her true father. Back on Earth, the EA is building a ship very similar to the Archangel. It seems that Lieutenant Badriel will be assigned to this new ship. Athrun asks for a shuttle to return to plant. He wants to talk to his father and see if he could stop all of this with words. Athrun takes a shuttle instead of Justice, just in case something happens. Raoul Crusette also learns of the Justice and Freedom Gundams in Jammer Cancellors. He is very intrigued. Kira tells Athearn not to die and they part ways. Athearn makes his way towards Yahin Dwe. Yahin Dwe is a Zaft military fortress and their last line of defense. Its thick rock walls prevent the fortress from bombardment and would take a giant nuclear blast to penetrate it. This is one of the 2 asteroids converted by Zaft, the other being Boaz, which we will talk more about later. At the fortress, Athearn meets with his father. He came in cuffs because he was riding in a Federation shuttle. He asks Patrick what his true feelings are about this war. Athearn's father tells him that he will continue fighting until every last natural is exterminated. It is here that Athearn realizes that his father isn't fighting for the betterment of the coordinators and the plants. He is simply the antithesis to Blue Cosmos, another force of hate. Patrick points a gun at Athearn and demands to know where the freedom and justice are. Athearn runs at his father. He shoots him in the shoulder and arrests him. While being dragged away, he tries to bust out. One of the Zaft soldiers helps him. He is Martin DaCosta, a former soldier for Andrew Watfield, who says he is a part of the Klein faction. Over at the hangar, a group of Zaft soldiers steal a battleship. The commander of the rogue Zaft crew is none other than Andrew Watfield himself. It seems that Kira did not kill him. Watfield and Lacus work together to command the Eternal. The FFMH Y-101 Eternal is a one-of-a-kind ship created by Zaft. This ship is specifically designed to house the Justice and Freedom along with their Meteor units. It is faster than the Nazca-class ship and is one of the lightest in terms of firepower, with only a large beam cannon, twin railguns, Vulcans, and battery defense missile launchers. Athearn is surprised to see Lacus on board. Yahin's mobile suit forces follow the Eternal. While the Eternal is getting assaulted, the Freedom comes in to help out. Kira is able to ward off most of Zaft's forces. The Eternal heads to the abandoned colony Mendel. Kira finds out that Watfield is still alive. Lacus consoles Nikita after the death of her father finally gets to her. The recently promoted Captain Badriel is running a simulation with her crew on the new ship, the Dominion. The Dominion is the second Archangel-class ship that was created. The Dominion Corps is a part of the 7th Space Fleet. Badriel meets with Azrael for the first time. The Dominion will be the new home for the Calamity, Raider, and Forbidden. Their new mission is to also destroy the Archangel. Rao makes his plan to attack the Mendel colony. Meanwhile, Earth forces move most of their forces to the moon after the Battle of Victoria. The Dominion notices Nazca-class ships and head towards the Mendel colony as well. We are starting to see the formation of the 3 ships alliance. The 3 ships represent each nation that has played a part in this war. The Archangel represents the defected Earth Alliance, the Kusanagi, which represents the ideals of Orb, and the Eternal, which represents the Klein faction of the Zaft ideal. Both Uzumi Atha and Siegel Klein both had similar beliefs in that coordinators and naturals could live together in peace. However, with the rise of Patrick Zala and Zaft and Blue Cosmos in the Earth Alliance, led to a more radical shift. The Freedom and Justice are now on the Eternal, while the Buster and Strike remain on the Archangel. The 3 ships notice the new ship approaching. It is the Dominion. They fire the large cannon on the Mendel. The Archangel goes out while the Eternal and Kusanagi prep for launch. The Archangel notices that it is the same class ship. Badriel suggests that Ramius surrenders. Of course, Ramius declines. Calamity, Forbidden, and Raider launch. Kira, Mu, Diarca, and Athearn launch as well and engage in battle. The Kusanagi is trapped on a cable, and a stray unit goes out to remove it. The Dominion gets the upper hand on the Archangel. All those moments of Badriel micromanaging Ramius may have proven to be a good thing, as Badriel seems to be the better strategist in this situation. She launches missiles at the Freedom Gundam. Kira is able to dodge most of the attack, but is getting surrounded by the Gat Gundams. Meanwhile, Rao Le Creuset and Isaac launch and head towards the Mendel. The Buster and Strike go to stop Rao's forces from joining the battle. Isaac is surprised when he runs into Diarca. Mu and Rao engage in battle. Now that Kusanagi and the Eternal are on the battlefield, the Dominion retreats. It is clear that Azrael has no clue about military strategy. Kira and Athrun recognize that the EA Gundam pilots aren't naturals, but they aren't exactly coordinators either. Mu, Diarca, Rao, and Isaac continue their battle. Everyone rests but Kira, who goes out to look for Diarca and Mu. Diarca gets out of his Gundam and tries to have a talk with Isaac. Rao does a good amount of damage to the Strike, but Kira comes in and helps out. Kira takes down Rao's Sigu, but he ejects and runs away. Mu and Kira chase after him. While fighting with Rao, he tells Kira that he was born here on Mendel, a place where experiments were done on coordinators to create something called the Ultimate Coordinator. Rao shows Kira the same picture that Uzumi gave Kigali. Rao also shows a picture of Mu and his father. What exactly is going on, and where did Mu and Kira come from? We will have to wait until next time. Rao Le Creuset informs Kira that he is the ultimate coordinator born of an artificial womb by the hands of Ulin Hibiki. In order to understand the ultimate coordinator, we must go back to CE 55 and the attack on Mendel. Ever since George Glenn became the first coordinator, there was a huge coordinator boom. The rise in coordinators led to the rise in anti-coordinator movements. This was the beginning of Blue Cosmos. To create a coordinator during those days, you still needed a mother, which was most likely still a natural. Because of this, it led to a weird time where women were seen as vessels for coordinators. It wasn't until Ulin Hibiki created the ultimate coordinator, a human birthed from an artificial womb and free from the burdens of having to be born of a natural mother. Hibiki tested this on his own son, who was named Kira Hibiki. Ulin and his wife Via also gave birth to Kigali, who was natural born. In May of CE 55, Blue Cosmos attacked the R&D facility on Mendel Colony and destroyed all the research and killed Ulin and Via Hibiki. Luckily, Kira and Kigali were able to survive due to his aunt, Karidad Yamato, so it seems the people that Kira thought were his parents were in fact his aunt and uncle. We also learn about Mu and Rao's past. Mu's father, Al Deflaga, was an arrogant man. Because the coordinators were still birthed by natural females, Mu ended up not inheriting any coordinator abilities. So Al forced Ulin Hibiki to make a clone of himself so he will have someone who is genetically superior to pass on his inheritance. But in return, Hibiki had his ultimate coordinator program fully funded. This clone happens to be Rao Le Creuset. Simply put, Rao hates humanity. While he believes that humanity will eventually wipe itself out, he is not satisfied with waiting for that to happen on its own and works towards ending humanity. Unlike Char in the original Mobile Suit Gundam, who played both sides to accomplish a personal goal of destroying the Zabi family, Rao is playing both sides because he simply is a nihilist. Mu shoots Rao and his mask falls off. They look so similar to one another. The Dominion prepares to launch and attack the three ships once again. Athrun Injustice and the Girls in the Astrays launch as well. The Dominion makes the first strike on the Archangel. The Eternal preps the Meteor unit. Freedom, Strike, and Buster come out of the Mendel colony. Rao returns to his ship and takes some pills. It seems these pills are related to him being a clone. He wants Flay to assist him with something. Justice and Freedom fight Calamity, Raider, and Forbidden. Flay gets in a capsule. Rao sends a message to the Archangel crew regarding his prisoner. He wants Flay to deliver a message to the EA. Rao and Isaac launch along with 12 Jins. Flay's pod launches as well. The Eternal handles Zaft Fleet, while the Archangel handles the Dominion. Justice and Freedom try to hold their own against the Dominion's Gundams. Flay sends out an open communication. Everyone realizes that Flay is the prisoner, Badriel tells Calamity Gundam to grab the pod. Kira goes after Flay's pod. Raider is able to knock off Freedom's head. Calamity grabs the pod. The Eternal and Kusanagi group up and beeline through the Nazca-class ships. Kira is being careless. Luckily, Athrun has his back. Justice and Buster have to pull Kira back to the ship before he gets too deep in enemy territory. Calamity takes Flay's pod back to the Dominion. One of the Nazca-class ships go down. Zaft regroups. Izak is starting to question Rao's leadership. On the Dominion, Flay gives Azrael a disc that Rao gave her. It happens to contain all the information on the Justice, Freedom, and N-Jammer cancellers. In the medbay, Mu tells Ramius about his father and Rao. Everyone seems to be suffering currently. Back on the moon, Azrael wants to use this information he attained on an all-out nuclear attack. However, Earth is currently suffering from an energy crisis. He convinces EA anyways. The Dominion is being supplied with nukes as it prepares for an attack on Boaz. The lunar fleet begins their assault on Boaz. Calamity, Forbidden, and Raider launch from the Dominion. They are accompanied by a few Agamemnon-class ships. We never talked about the Agamemnon-class ship when we talked about the Omni Enforcers. It has a Gottfried beam cannon, large missile launchers, and anti-air guns. EA launches dozens of nuclear weapons using the updated Mobius and what they are calling the Peacemaker Force. The TS-MA2 Mobius is the mass production version of the Mobius Zero that we saw Mu Laflaga pilot before acquiring the Skygrasper. The Mobius was outperformed by Zaft's Jins and they essentially stopped production. But they are perfect for the Peacemaker Force. Each Mobius is equipped with a nuclear warhead and their objective is to simply launch nukes. They launch nukes and completely obliterate Boaz in a matter of moments. Badriel feels so much remorse for having to resort to nuclear weapons unlike Azrael. Patrick Zala prepares for an attack on Yakin Dway and prepares Genesis. Now that the EA have resorted to nukes, it is only a matter of time until they use them on the plants. The three ships must move fast. An all-out nuclear war is upon them. Meanwhile, it took almost the whole series for Flay to actually feel something genuine in regards to war. Good for her. She got there. All forces begin to gather at Yakin Dway, Zaft's final line of defense before reaching the plants. EA sends out the nukes. Freedom and Justice launch in the new Meteor units. The Meteor is not just a great song in this series, but also a mobile suit support system. If you thought Freedom was overpowered before, you haven't seen anything yet. The Meteor uses the same engine as the Gen high maneuver type and is very fast. It has beam cannons, it has a beam sword, it also has an anti-ship missile launcher. When the Meteor is attached to the Justice or Freedom, it essentially has the power of a warship. It is ridiculous. Justice and Freedom come in as the nukes are about to hit the plants. Kira and Athrun use their multi-lock-on system along with the Meteor system and wipes out all the nukes. The three ships come onto the battlefield. Genesis is ready to launch. It stands for Gamma Emission by Nuclear Explosion Stimulate Inducing System. It is a huge gamma ray cannon that uses nuclear explosions to produce a massive burst of gamma radiation, which is reflected back by an external alignment mirror and focused by a second mirror on the cannon to create a laser beam. Patrick Zala fires Genesis. A good chunk of the 7th Fleet, which the Dominion is a part of, was taken out. All mobile suits retreat for now. Genesis needs to replace its mirror after every use. They go out to prepare for another attack. The three ships do the math and find out that if Genesis is pointed directly at Earth, it would wipe out all life on the planet. Indeed, that is exactly what Patrick Zala is planning to do. Lacus gives Kira a ring and Athrun kisses Kigali before they head out for another attack. Mu also kisses Ramius. You gotta kiss the girl before the final battle. Meanwhile, Izak is having his own "what am I fighting for" moment. Everyone launches, including Kigali in the Strike Rouge. The MBF-02 Strike Rouge was built using spare parts of the Strike and is more or less a copy of it, including the use of its striker packs. The only difference is that the Strike Rouge uses AI and additional power that changes the phase shift armor color to red and pink. Rao goes out too. Patrick doesn't want him to mess this up. Rao asks Patrick, even if that includes killing Athrun? Patrick says of course. Rao goes out in the Providence. The ZGMF X-13A Providence Gundam is the last of the Gundams created by Zaft. Like Freedom and Justice, it also has an in-jammer canceller. What makes Rao's Providence model special is the use of the Dragoon system. Dragoon stands for Disconnected Rapid Armament Group Overlook Operation Network. This allows a single mobile suit user to control multiple bits that can attack an enemy from all angles. This is essentially Universal Century's Psychomu system and funnels all in one package. It requires a skilled pilot to be able to control all of the bits. Providence has 11 bits. Patrick decides to attack Ptolemy's crater on the moon with the Genesis. He takes aim and fires. All lunar forces heading towards the battle is destroyed instantly. Azrael just wants to murder the Coordinator's homeworld, while Badriel wants to destroy Genesis and win the war. Azrael's racism gets the best of him, and he pulls a gun on Badriel. Azrael launches the Peacemaker Force once again. The Archangel approaches the Dominion. They both fire on each other. Justice and Freedom handle the nukes. Kigali is almost hit by Forbidden, but Ezek comes in and saves her. Ezek goes in and takes out the Forbidden Gundam. Rao and Mu meet on the battlefield again and begin the fight. Rao is having some real bad brother envy right now. Justice uses the Meteor's beam saber to take out the Calamity Gundam. The mobile suit goes after Genesis, while the Archangel attacks the Dominion. Rao beats up the strike really bad. He retreats to the Archangel. Flay tries to warn the Archangel. Azrael tries to shoot Flay, but Badriel prevents it. She tells everyone to abandon ship and go to the Archangel. Badriel traps Azrael on the bridge. He shoots Badriel a few times before going over and firing the Longren beam cannon himself. The Archangel wasn't expecting an attack after most of the crew retreated. They can't defend themselves quickly enough. However, Mu comes in to save the day and is beaten down Strike Gundam. His shield doesn't hold and the strike is destroyed, but it managed to save the Archangel. Ramius cries out for Mu. Wait. This isn't what I remember from my childhood. Bring up that original cut. Yeah, that's the good stuff right there. Let's all just pretend Mu is dead for now. Ramius aims its own Longren on the Dominion. The Dominion is destroyed, killing both Badriel and Azrael. Rao in the Providence comes in to attack. Rao is able to destroy the Meteor's beam saber. Clotho is the last standing biological CPU in the Raider Gundam. He has gone too long without his gamma glypheptin pills and is going mad. Ezek is able to take out Raider Gundam. Providence is able to destroy Freedom's meteor pack. Providence fires at the Dominion's escape pod, killing Flay. This awakens Kira's seed factor. We haven't really talked about the seed factor. It stands for Superior Evolutionary Element Destined Factor. It is when an individual attains a heightened awareness of their surroundings and their reflexes are enhanced. This is very similar to the new types of Universal Century. Your eyes also seem to dilate like you are on mushrooms. Pretty cool. There are no Earth forces, just the 3 ships alliance. Zaft has essentially beaten EA, but Patrick still wants to fire the Genesis regardless. So much so that he murders a subordinate for questioning him. While Patrick prepares the Genesis, the man that he shot was still alive. He ends up shooting Patrick, right as Kigali and Atherin come to clear out Yakin. Yakin Dway is set to self-destruct and fire Genesis at the same time. Atherin goes into the Genesis and does a Star Wars. He plans on self-destructing the Justice to destroy the Genesis weapon. Kigali follows Atherin to prevent him from killing himself. Kira uses his beam saber and strikes the Providence, killing Rao, but not before having to listen to Rao go on about his nihilism. Yakin Dway explodes. Genesis is about to go off, but the Justice self-destructs and destroys the weapon. But Atherin is safe in Kigali's Strike Rouge. Kira floats out into space with the Freedom nearly destroyed. He takes it all in. Atherin and Kigali come to save him. After the war, in-jammer cancellers were placed throughout Earth so that power plants can be up and running again, fixing the Earth power crisis. At Zaft, Izak is promoted to commander after initially being sentenced to death for crimes against humanity at the Battle of Orb. Diarca and Atherin were considered deserters by Zaft. Atherin was officially discharged, while Diarca was demoted one rank. The Nairobi Peace Conference led to the Junius Treaty, which officially ends the First Alliance Plant War. The Junius Treaty specifically outlines several points. All national boundaries on Earth had to be restored to the status quo. Thus, both the Orb Union and the United States of South America, which were seized by the Alliance, became independent nations again. Also, Zaft had to leave the areas they conquered during the war. However, they were allowed to operate the Gibraltar and the Carpinteria base on Earth. Neither side would pay reparations. Instead of an international tribunal, each side would try its own war criminals. Preferential tariffs for former plant sponsors. Nuclear technologies, such as neutron jammers and neutron jammer cancellers, are prohibited from military use. Mirage colloid technology is prohibited from military use. Mirage colloid was a gas that was used in Blitz's stealth technology, as well as Forbidden's Geschmeidig Panzer. The moon is considered neutral territory, with both sides having the same number of bases. Foreign Minister Lindemann of the Kingdom of Scandinavia proposed in the Lindemann Plan that strict limits be placed on the number of ships, mobile suits, and mobile armors that could be owned by either nation. The armament limits imposed on each nation by the Lindemann Plan are proportional to national resources such as population and economic output, thus placing the plants at a substantial military disadvantage. One group was allowed to live on, however: Blue Cosmos. Because the treaty never put anything in about removing Blue Cosmos, it essentially allows the racism to build up all over again, leading to the Second Alliance Plant War. June 15th, CE 71. We return to the Battle of Orb. A young Shin Asuka and his family is retreating Orb territory as the attack takes place. As they run towards the transport vessel, Shin's sister, Mayu, drops her phone. Shin goes to pick it up for her, right as Kira in the Freedom fires on the island towards Calamity. Shin is blown back by the explosion. He gets up to find Mayu's arm severed meters from her body. His entire family is killed. Cosmic Era 73. It's been a year since the Junius Treaty has been signed. For details on the Junius Treaty, watch our last video on CE 71. There is peace, but the tensions between Plant and Earth Alliance never went away. L4, Plant Colony, Armory 1. Kurgali is meeting with the Plant Supreme Council Chairman Gilbert Durandal. Athernzala is by her side, going by the pseudonym Alex Dino. They didn't meet at the capital to keep a low profile. In the city, we run into 3 biological CPUs wandering through the colony. This is Sting Oakley, Stella Lucier, and Owl Neater. This team is known as the Phantom Pain. Phantom Pain is a special forces unit of the Omni Enforcer and is funded and ordered directly by Lord Jibril. A part of this is a new line of bio CPUs, the Extended. Unlike the Boosted Man that we saw in Gundam Seed, these biological CPUs are more stable and quick-witted. However, they still take drugs and are tortured from birth. However, unlike the Boosted Man, the Extended uses capsules called the Cradle to wipe out their memories every once in a while. Kurgali is concerned that Earth and Zaft are making moves towards another war. In the city, Shin runs into Stella, the manic pixie biological CPU of his dreams, but she runs away. Durandal assures Kurgali that Zaft has no intentions of attacking Earth and will only defend themselves. A few hangars away from Kurgali and Durandal, the Phantom Pain team suddenly comes in and attacks Zaft personnel and hijacks 3 Zaft mobile suits. These are the Chaos, Gaia, and Abyss Gundam. The ZG-MF X-24S Chaos Gundam is a mobile suit that can transform into a mobile armor. Its mobile armor pods are very similar to the pods used with the Mobius Zero, but has the Dragoon system integrated into it. This, along with all Gundams of the second stage series of suits, are equipped with a Deuterion beam energy transfer system. nuclear-powered mobile suits are no longer allowed in accordance with the Junius Treaty. However, Zaft found a workaround by creating nuclear-powered batteries that can transfer energy wirelessly, making refueling effortless. It is also equipped with variable phase shift armor. The ZGMF X88S Gaia Gundam can transform into an earth-terrain mobile armor that resembles the Baku. Because of this design, Gaia mainly works best as a short-ranged fighter. In space, it has thruster-mounted wings, which greatly improves the AMBAC system. It also uses the Vajra beam saber, just like the Baku. The ZGMF X31S Abyss Gundam also has a mobile armor form that specializes in underwater battle. This unit is also the most heavily armed of the three units. It can also use a handheld beam lance for close combat, even in the water, as the lance has a physical blade. And for defense, it can use the pair of shoulder-mounted binders as shields, as they are anti-beam coated. During the assault, Kigali recognizes that Zaft is making Gundams. Now director Mitsuo Fukuda likes taking the Gundam acronym and shoving whatever English words he can to make it work. The Project G mobile suits, which include Strike, Dual, Aegis, and others, stood for General Unilateral Neuralink Dispersive Autonomic Maneuver Synthesis System. Justice, Freedom, and Providence were called Generation Unsubdued Nuclear Drive Assault Module Complex. And the second stage Gundams like the Impulse and Gaia, like we see in Destiny, are referred to as Generation Unrestricted Network Drive Assault Module. While chaos ensues, Athearn and Kigali get into the Zaku Warrior. The ZGMF 1000 Zaku Warrior is a part of the New Millennium series. Zaku stands for Zaft Armored Keeper of Unity. The Zaku uses the Wizard system, which is similar to Silhouettes and Striker packs. These are interchangeable packs that can be used in different environments. It has an anti-beam shield, a beam tomahawk, an assault rifle, and a heavy blade, and much more. Other units of the New Millennium series include the Dom Trooper and the Goof Ignited. These are all clearly based on their UC counterparts. Stella starts attacking the Zaku. Meanwhile, on the Minerva, Shin gets into the Core Splendor and launched the modules of his mobile suit. All the modules form to create the Impulse Gundam. The ZGMF X56S Impulse Gundam is also a part of Zaft's second stage series. It is designed to be piloted by an ace. Like the Striker and Wizard packs, the Impulse uses Silhouette packs, which help get around some of the rules of the Junius Treaty. Silhouette packs will vary depending on battle situations. Unlike the other three units, the Impulse doesn't have a mobile armor form. It does, however, have the Core Splendor as one of its modules. The YFX M56S Core Splendor acts as the cockpit when connected to the Impulse, but when separated, it can function as a fighter. It was originally tested on a Zaku called the Zaku Splendor. It is armed with two nose-mounted 20mm machine guns and two wing-mounted anti-air missile launchers that are loaded with several Ladybird-guided missiles. Shin comes in with the Impulse to help out Athearn and Kigali. He has the Sword Silhouette pack equipped. Outside of the plant colony Armory 1, an Earth Alliance ship is cloaked using Mirage Colloid technology, which goes against the Junius Treaty. The captain is Neo Roanoke, and is command of the Gertie Lou class ship. You could probably guess who this man is based off the voice actor alone. The Gertie Lou ship is the evolution of the Archangel class ship. It uses Mirage Colloid tech, which is illegal, but allows them to camouflage themselves. It has a Gottfried beam cannon, multi-barrel Vulcans, and a vertical missile launcher. It also has two gas propulsion modules and a rocket anchor. They engage in battle with the colony. A few Dagger Ls take out the Zaft escort fleet, which block all other ships from leaving the port. Sting, Stella, and Owl team up to take out the Impulse Gundam. Athearn and the Zaku assists Impulse. Zaft pilot Ray Zabaril is able to get his Zaku Phantom up and running to assist in the battle. Ray gets Luna Maria Hawk's Zaku free as well. The ZGMF 1001 Zaku Phantom is the commander version of the Zaku Warrior. Its only difference is that it has 2 shields instead of 1. It can also use the wizard system. Neo Roanoke goes out in the Exus to buy the 3 Gundam hijackers some time. The TS-MA4F Exus is based on the Mobius and uses the wire-guided gun barrels similarly. Unlike the Mobius, the Exus can only be used in space. Meanwhile, the Minerva is still inside the colony. They are wondering if they should follow the ship outside. Neo and Rey pass each other. Rey's seed factor goes off. He seems to be connected to Neo in some way. The Minerva launches the Force Silhouette Flyer for Shin. The Force Silhouette is analogous to the L Striker Pack. It improves the Impulse Gundam's mobility while in Earth atmosphere. Shin goes and equips the Force Silhouette. The Impulse's improved mobility greatly outpaces the Gaia, Chaos, and Abyss. Abyss Gundam shoots a hole in the colony. Minerva prepares to launch. Durandal is on board. Athrun and Kigali exit the Zaku and demand to see the chairman. The LHM BB-01 Minerva is Zaf's first ship since the end of the war. It is the only battleship to have the Deuterium beam transmitter equipped. It also has a launcher specifically designed for Impulse Gundam. It has a positron blaster cannon, torpedo launcher, and missile launcher. It also is a part of the Second Stage series. So what is the Second Stage series? This was created after the New Millennium series and includes Savior, Chaos, Abyss, Impulse, and Gaia Gundams, along with the Minerva and the Core Splendor. Impulse and Phantom make their way out into space. The Exus begins attacking Shin. The Minerva finally makes its way outside the colony. The captain of the Minerva is Talia Gladys. Her tactic of saving the Impulse is to attack the Gertie Lu class ship and thus drive it away from the battlefield. Neo retreats as the Minerva sends out a signal for Shin and Rey to retreat as well. The Minerva attacks the Gertie Lu class ship. Neo orders them to make their retreat, but Minerva continues to chase them. The Gertie Lu class ship detaches its propulsion module. The module crashes directly into the Minerva. The damage is minimal, but the Gertie Lu class ship is able to get some distance from Zaft. While all this was going down, Kigali and Athrun got on board the Minerva before they ended up in the midst of battle. On the Gertie Lu, 3 biological CPUs are in the cradle. Kigali and Athrun are treated as allies while they are on board Minerva. Chairman Durandal shows the two the new Zaku and the Minerva launch system for the Impulse. While talking to Durandal, Shin yells at Kigali for being idealistic. The Gertie Lu is spotted on radar. Luna Maria Hawk and the Zaku warrior and Shin and the Impulse launch. They enter into a debris field and search for the Gertie Lu. Abyss, Gaia, and Chaos lead them into a trap and begin attacking. The Gertie Lu class sends out daggers. Because of the debris, the Minerva's heavy weapons were of no use. On the bridge, Athrun thinks he is the captain and gives orders. Really weird. Athrun's big plan is to simply fire long-range weapons in a short-range environment to break up some of the debris, where they would instantly attack the Gertie Lu class. That doesn't seem like the most complicated idea. Rey chases Neo in the Exus. He is most certainly playing with Rey. The Gertie Lu class sends out a signal flare to retreat. It seems that Minerva's plan worked, but they ran out of ammo to follow up on the attack of the Gertie Lu. As things calm down, Captain Talia and Durandal praise Athrun for his military prowess. It seems Durandal is allowing Athrun so much agency because he's trying to lure Athrun back into Zaft. And sadly, Athrun actually buys into it. The length this show goes to essentially put certain pieces together. Back at Junius 7, a group of Patrick Zala loyalists are plotting something as independent terrorists. They set off thrusters throughout Junius 7's remains. This caused the debris to start making its way towards Earth. Minerva, the Gertie Lu class ship, and the people of Earth are all informed of the situation and make their way towards the debris. On Earth, a group called Logos is meeting with Lord Jibril. Logos is a secret society made up of contractors and industrialists who make up the military-industrial complex for the Earth Alliance. it seems that Logos holds most of the power, as Blue Cosmos and Phantom Pain actually seem to be subdivision of this secret organization. Durandal also mentions in the first episode that Blue Cosmos is a belief and not an organization. And to that I say, what? Then explain this man and now this man, who clearly are playing leadership roles. Anyways, it is clear that Lord Jibril is the leader of Logos and thus the new leader of Blue Cosmos. That's right, leader. They start making their plans and strategies on how to start a new war if Junior 7 debris hits Earth. By the looks of it, no one knows of the rogue terrorists, so this seems like a natural occurrence for Junior 7 and thus should be treated as a bipartisan issue. However, Lord Jibril finds a way to make it all about the naturals. Diarca and Izak are making their way towards Junior 7 as they have been assigned to break up the debris. Izak is in command while Diarca is now a regular recruit as he has been demoted. In Zaft, Green is a regular recruit. Black and White is squad leader. Red is an elite recruit and White is captain or commander. They begin breaking apart the debris using meteor breakers when suddenly a group of Gen high maneuver type 2s begin attacking Zaft. The ZGMF 1017 M2 Gen high maneuver type 2 is fitted with large versions of normal backpack thrusters for high mobility during close combat. Its close combat capabilities are improved and can keep its own with the new Zaku. Izak doesn't know who the squad is or why they are attacking their own kind. Atherin asks Talia if he could use a mobile suit to help out. She refuses, but Durandal allows it. Yeah, butter up that Atherin. Butter him up good. Atherin is allowed to use a Zaku. The Minerva team and Atherin begin to launch. Gaia, Abyss, and Chaos make their way towards Izak's team. Izak and Diarca recognize the stolen Gundams. The Minerva team also makes their way to Junior 7 and engage in battle. Anarchy breaks out as it seems like a civil war amongst Zaft is currently happening. Gertie Lu is most likely hidden, and the stolen Gundams are technically Zaft property. To Earth, this must seem like it was all Zaft's doing. Orb and Alliance governments inform their people of what is happening above them currently. The meteor breakers are successful and break the giant piece of debris into 2 chunks, but they need to break it up into smaller pieces. Atherin meets up with Izak and Diarca. Atherin, Diarca, and Izak does damage on the battlefield. Shin is taken aback as he is observing 3 veterans in action. The Minerva calls for a retreat. Talia realizes soon the Minerva will be swept up with Junior 7 into Earth's atmosphere. Talia tells Durandal to retreat on the Voltaire. Kigali stays behind on the Minerva and waits for Atherin. Minerva plans on following Junior 7 and destroying any remaining debris while entering Earth's atmosphere. Shin and Atherin go out and try to use a meteor breaker, but the rogue terrorists attack them. Atherin is stunned to find that these men are all loyal to his father. The debris and Minerva begin Earth re-entry. Shin saves Atherin and pulls him out of the gravitational pull of Earth, but it is too strong. On Earth, Kira is looking up towards the sky to see a fallen Junior 7. Minerva needs to shoot down the large chunk of Junior 7 entering the atmosphere, but they are concerned that they might hit Atherin and Shin. They fire their 10-Hauser cannon anyways. It breaks apart, but many tiny pieces still hit Earth. The attack is devastating to many cities around the world. Atherin is falling towards Earth, but Shin comes in to save him. They are able to land, but instead of heading towards Carpinteria, they decide to head towards Orb. Chairman Durandal decides to give support to Earth, but the people are already blaming Plant for trying to destroy the world. On board Minerva, Luna Maria tells Atherin that they all look up to him as they studied the former war. Now Luna Maria is buttering up Atherin. Meanwhile, Kira just looks into the ocean the entire episode. Minerva finally makes its way towards Orb. She is met with Unisirin, son of the current Prime Minister of Orb, and is to be wed with Kigali. This marriage was apparently arranged way before CE-71. Kigali is informed that they intend to create an alliance with the Atlantic Federation. Orb was slightly hit during the Break the World incident and thus needs some aid. the Atlantic Federation would be able to provide aid during this time of need. Kigali naturally doesn't approve of this. At the hangar, Ramius meets with Talia and helps fix up Minerva. Athrun drives out to visit Lacus and Kira. He tells Kira that he doesn't really know what he is currently fighting for. The next morning, Athrun tells the same thing to Kigali and tells him that he will be returning to Zaft. Before he leaves, Athrun gives Kigali a promise ring. While Shin is crying about his family, he happens to run into Kira, who is looking at a cenotaph. He makes a comment about how all the flowers should burn. He sucks. It is official. The Orb Union, Eurasian Federation, and Atlantic Federation is forcing Zaft to meet their demands. Chairman Durandal wants to continue negotiations with Earth, but the people of Plant are starting to see this as a sign of weakness. The EA prepares for an attack on the plants. They prepare their new Wyndhams with nukes. The GAT-04 Wyndham is the successor to the Dagger L, which were all based off of the original Strike Gundam. The Wyndham is said to be the fully realized version of the Strike Gundam and can actually somewhat hold itself against Freedom. Like its predecessors, the Wyndham is compatible with the Striker packs. However, its shoulders make it impossible to mount the Sword and Launcher Striker pack. At Zaft, Diarca launches in a Zaku Warrior and Izak launches in the Zaku Phantom. The ZGMF 1001K/Zaku Phantom is a version of the Zaku Phantom that is equipped with the EXK/Wizard pack. It is designed to be a close combat mobile suit. It is also equipped with a Hydra Gatling beam cannon and a G7 Beamax, which is the strongest melee weapon from Zaft. The battle between the two forces begin. Zaft quickly finds out that they are equipped with nukes. The Wyndhams fire nukes. Izak's team tries to get them in time, but they were tricked. Luckily, Zaft has the Neutron Stampeder on standby. The Neutron Stampeder is a device that remotely controls the movement of free neutrons to induce runaway nuclear fission reactions. When activated, it causes the immediate detonation of any nuclear weapons within its area of effect. But it can only be used once because of the quantum fresnels that make up its firing mechanism disintegrate during use, and it's effective only against enemies who are using nuclear technology. It fires, taking out the first wave of nukes and the Wyndhams. Earth forces retreat to their lunar base. Back at Zaft, while waiting for Durandal, Athrun meets a Lacus lookalike, which leaves them very confused. This fake Lacus even has her own Haro. While meeting with Athrun, Durandal is appalled that after declaring war, Earth would respond with nukes less than 12 hours later. To him, this doesn't even feel like a war. Athrun tells Durandal his real name. Of course, Durandal most likely knew of this information. He continues slathering butter all over Athrun. As the people of Plant descend into anger, the fake Lacus Klein attempts to bring the coordinators together. Durandal tells Athrun that he truly believes this woman can bring all the coordinators together more so than him as chairman. And with all that butter, Durandal finally throws it all in the pan as he finally asks Athrun to return to Zaft. He does so by showing Athrun the Savior. The ZGMF X-23S Savior Gundam is a secret second stage series weapon similar to the Impulse. It is a high maneuverable unit that can transform into a fast mobile armor. It is similar to the design of the Freedom and Justice, but also has many sensors that was once seen on the Aegis. It also has the Deuterium beam energy transfer system and variable shift armor. Ultimately, Savior was designed for a hit-and-run situation where a pilot needs to get in and get out very fast. Meanwhile, the fake Lacus forces Athrun to eat dinner with her. She wants to know if her performance is as good as the real Lacus. She seems to be a big Lacus fangirl. She also seems to recognize that she is somewhat being used, but is okay with it, sort of. It all seems sad, but all this culminates into Athrun finally deciding to return to Zaft. Lord Jibril is mad about the failed attack on Zaft. However, currently the EA is on their way to take control of Zaft-controlled Earth territory, such as Carpinteria. At Orb, Kigali is losing the battle of convincing her fellow councilmen that joining the Atlantic Federation isn't a great idea. However, the people seem to be tired of Uzumi's stubbornness and now Kigali's stubbornness. Meanwhile, war is declared, and the Minerva is still on Orb, which is on the verge of being on the opposite side of the war. Plant still doesn't completely trust Athrun yet, so they get Izak and Diarca to escort him while in the colonies. The three go to visit Nickel and Rusty's grave. Izek suggests that Athrun stays and joins Zaft. Izek tells him not to let his potential go to waste. On Orb, Andrew Watfield sends a secret message to Minerva that Orb is about to join the EA and that they need to get out of here. Even though he is a neutral, Watfield was originally Zaft and a part of the Klein faction, which is still Zaft. He tells Talia that the message comes from the Desert Tiger. The Orb Union finalizes the treaty with the Earth Alliance. Minerva preps for the departure. Kigali personally sees off Minerva. Yuna suggests they get married faster, so the people of Orb have something to unite over. Operation Spear of Twilight is in full effect by Zaft. As Earth plans an assault on Gibraltar and Carpinteria, Zaft plans to aid its Earth bases. Minerva leaves Orb territory only to suddenly be met with Earth forces waiting on the outskirts of what was once the neutral zone. Minerva is no longer welcome on Earth, it seems. The Minerva mobile suit team prepares to launch. Impulse launches with the Force silhouette. Shin will go out and support while Luna Maria and Rey guard on top of Minerva. Kira is also still having a staring contest with the ocean. I think he is losing. The EA flagship preps a new mobile armor for launch called the Zamzaza. The YMAF X6BD Zamzaza is the evolution of the MA2 Mobius, even though they look nothing alike. It is controlled by a crew of 3 members. It has Vulcans, multi-phase energy cannons, low-pressure guns, reflector shields, and oscillation crushers. Minerva activates its Turnhauser and fires on the mobile armor. However, the mobile armor is able to deflect the power of the Positron Blaster Cannon. Impulse Gundam and Zamzaza engage in battle. Even though Orb isn't officially a part of the EA yet, they send out forces to help EA against Minerva. Minerva is heading back towards Orb territory. Orb fires a few warning shots at the Zaft ship. The Zamzaza grabs a hold of the Impulse right as it loses power and powers off its variable shift armor. Impulse heads towards the ship. It fires the Deuterian beam energy transfer system at Impulse Gundam, and it instantly powers back up. Impulse takes out its beam saber and destroys the Zamzaza. The sword silhouette launches. Shin equips it to the Gundam and then proceeds to do damage to all the battleships like a madman. Orb watches in awe. Back at Zaft, Athrun dons the Zaft uniform once again. Durandal reinstates them into Zaft as Faith Elite Forces. Faith stands for Fast Acting Integrate Tactical Headquarters. Faith members work outside of Zaft's chain of command and report directly to the Plant Supreme Council and the chairman. Athrun launches in the Savior. The Minerva crew praises Shin for getting them out of a deadly situation. At Orb, Yuna decides to marry Kigali on the day of the signing of the treaty with the Earth Alliance. Watfield tells Ramius that it doesn't look like coordinators like him, Kira, and Lacus will be welcome on Earth anymore, and will probably have to move to the plants. Ramius just wants a place to die in peace. Later that night, a crew of mysterious mercenaries come to attack. Luckily, Pink Chan saves the day by waking everyone up. The mercs attack. Watfield has a robot arm now, which is neat. They get to a safe room and realize that this is a special ops squad of coordinators, and they were targeting Lacus specifically. Their team has failed to kill Lacus on foot, but it must be done. They all launch their Ashes. The UMF SSO-3 Ash is a new amphibious mobile suit. Unlike the Goons, which don't operate well outside of water, the Ash functions really well on land. It has a missile launcher, high-energy beam cannon, photo-maser cannon, machine gun, and beam claw. They attack the house and start to make it towards the outer wall of the shelter. Kira decides that it is time to pilot the Freedom once again. He incapacitates most of the Ashes, but they all self-destruct to conceal their identity. Tori comes out of nowhere. Watfield is starting to question if moving back to Plant is a good idea. Kigali delivers a letter to Kira about her sudden wedding. Kira and the team decide that they need to go save Kigali. The Archangel crew once again preps for launch. Ramius tells Watfield that he should be captain, but he gives the role to Ramius, who mans the captain's chair on the Archangel once again. Freedom launches from the Archangel. The Orb military is informed of their movement. Suddenly, Freedom comes in and takes Kigali away. A few Murasames come in and chase Kira. The MVF M11C Murasame is the predecessor to the Astray. It can function in both space and Earth, and its mobile armor mode is extremely fast. It could hold its own to mobile suits like Chaos Gundam. It has Vulcans, a beam saber, a beam cannon, the Ikazuchi beam rifle, air-to-air missiles, air-to-surface missiles, and a shield. There is a Murasami also on board the Archangel, which we will see Wattfield pilot. The Freedom takes out both units with relative ease. It returns to the Archangel, but it is surrounded by Orb forces. The Archangel heads underwater and avoids their forces. Orb should know about these upgrades, right? Kogali is angry that they made themselves criminals of Orb by capturing her. Kira gives Kogali her ring back that Athrun gave her. The Minerva crew is on shore leave in Carpinteria when Athrun makes his way on board in his new Savior Gundam. Everyone realizes that he is now a member of Faith and salutes him. Luna Maria informs Athrun of the situation happening at Orb. He is shocked to hear that Kogali is aligning herself with the Earth Alliance and that she is getting married. But Luna Maria buried the lead and eventually tells Athrun that she escaped with Kira. Athrun gives Talia a Faith badge. Both Athrun and Talia have been assigned as a Faith member while being assigned to the same ship. Now remember, Faith members have authority outside of the normal chain of command, but having two Faith members at the same time on the same ship makes leadership a slippery slope. Essentially, both Talia and Athrun now have the same rank. This means that both can attempt to outrank each other. It's a weird situation that could have made for a solid core theme for Zaft, but it is merely a tool to create minor drama here and there. It's unfortunate. Durandal also gives orders to Minerva to head towards Gibraltar. Once there, they are assigned to assist in a battle to capture Suez. Located in the Suez Canal, the Suez base is the largest base in the North African region. It serves as an important supply distribution route for the Earth Alliance across the Mediterranean Sea and Africa. Meanwhile, the show really wants us to see Luna Maria's ass for some reason. I thought the boob jiggling in the first season was pretty bad, but here we are. Anyways, it seems that Luna Maria has taken a liking to Athrun. At EA, the Phantom Pain team makes their way towards Gibraltar as well. Minerva makes its leave from Carpinteria, but Neo and his crew are waiting for them on the outskirts of their base. Shin is interrupted reading a magazine about High and Mighty Color. At the EA Indian Ocean Frontline Ocean Base, that's a mouthful, all forces head out to Suez, including the Phantom Pain. All except Stella because their Gaia Gundam can't swim or fly. Gaia is to remain and defend the base. Neo also heads out in the Wyndham. Talia sends out the Minerva mobile suits, with Athrun taking command. They attack Phantom Pain, along with 30 Wyndhams. Shin is going out too far and getting attacked. Luna Maria and Rey begin to launch as they chase Abyss underwater. A Zaft Vazgulav sub is assisting Minerva as well. They launch Goons, which if you remember from Seed, is Zaft's underwater line of mobile suits before the Ash. Abyss destroys one of the Goons. Shin goes in too deep, attacking Neo. Meanwhile, Gaia gets impatient and chases Shin in the shallow part of the water. She is able to get an attack on Impulse Gundam. Shin engages in battle even though Athrun tells him to pull back. Gaia attacks the Gundam, leaving the base unguarded. Shin sees refugees trying to flee. After Zaft finds the base, Neo tells the Phantom Pain team to retreat. But Owl in the Abyss wants to prove himself. He destroys the allied Zaft Vazgulav sub. Shin goes mad and begins destroying the base. He lets the refugees free. Back at Zaft, Athrun slaps Shin for disobeying orders. This is a loss for Minerva. The Archangel are picking up on Zaft broadcasts to find that the fake Lacus is the focus of their media. Since this is all over Zaft media, it is certainly that Durandal knows of the situation and might be involved himself. Minerva is on its way towards Mahamel base. They meet with the commander of the base. They realize that EA needs to attack Suez in order to break through and attack Gibraltar. But it seems there is some resistance with the Eurasian forces. Zaft must use this opportunity to seize the gate in the Suez ravine, where there happens to be a power source. However, it is protected by a positron cannon. There also happens to be a mobile armor with a positron deflector shield. Minerva must clear a path for the rest of Zaft forces to make their way towards Gibraltar. Shin and Athrun run into one another. Athrun reminds Shin how much of a bitch he is. The Minerva team meet in the briefing room. They are to take out the positron cannon that is protecting the power supply. They are working with Connell and some resistant forces during this mission. Athrun assigns Shin to handle the mobile armor protecting the power source. They prep for launch. Shin and the Impulse will fly through the pitch black ravine as the core splendor is the only thing small enough to make it through. Athrun, Ray, and Shin launch. They have Lesseps class ships assisting them. The Minerva fires the Tannhauser, but the mobile armor deflects the attack. The YMAG X7F Gelsgi is the second largest mobile armor used in this war. Just like the Zamzaza, this mobile suit is piloted with a crew of 3. Its special weapon is the positron reflector shield. Unlike its predecessors, the Zamzaza, the Gelsgi shield emitters are all forward-facing, effectively reducing the time to deploy the shield without needing to reposition the mobile armor's whole body. Shin sneaks in from the back to get the upper hand on the EA. The long range is descending underground, but Shin uses a dagger L and throws it into the hole, destroying the cannon and its power source. As Zaf destroys the cannon, the refugees instantly turn on the Alliance. And I mean really turn on the Alliance. Athrun congratulates Shin on succeeding. Athrun is somewhat worried that Shin is enjoying the victory a little too much. Mir Campbell, the fake Lacus, is doing a performance for the Zaf troops. She is performing on top of a pink Zaku warrior, and you're damn right that Bandai makes a gunpla of this mobile suit. Athrun is surprised to see her at the base. Everyone seems to notice that Lacus' performance is a little off. No one knows that this isn't the real Lacus. The Phantom Pain team is wandering around the Black Sea base spying again. It seems Ray and Durandal meet for the first time in ages as they have a strong relationship. Also, look at this. Shin sucks so much that he can't even shake hands properly. Man, Shin sucks. They all have a meal while Durandal discusses his true intentions for getting involved in this war. He discusses how to stop war and the cycle of hate, but then he mentions, what if their true intentions isn't war, but to keep profits coming in? This is where Durandal explains that this war is fighting the military-industrial complex that keeps war going. For the Earth Alliance, that means Logos and Blue Cosmos. The next morning, the Minerva team meet with Hein Westenfluss. Hein is a member of Faith and an ace pilot in his own right. During the First Alliance Plant War, he was assigned to the Hawkins team and was at the Battle of Yakindwe. Hein tells the team that he is assigned to the Minerva, and he doesn't really understand why, as Athrun and the team seem competent without him. This seems to be Durandal's doing. The team is on shore leave. Shin goes out and stares at waves when he runs into Stella dancing. She accidentally falls off of the bluffs. Shin jumps in to save her. I appreciate that Shin forces her to go buoyant instead of swimming and saving the day. Movies love to show people saving people from the water. Do not do this in real life, people. They are eventually able to get up on shore, where they do the whole "we are wet, so we are taking off our clothes" as a metaphor for vulnerability cliche. Athrun comes to save Shin and Stella. The Phantom Pain team yells out for Stella. Both Shin and Athrun head back up the cliff to meet up with their compatriots. They drop her off, but Athrun remembers them being at L4 Plant Armory 1 during the attack. They go their separate ways. Athrun seems to ignore this for now. I'm glad everyone had the day off, but what's happening back out in space? Yeah, that seems about right. Jibril and the president of the Atlantic Federation is having a conversation. It is clear that the president is being controlled by Jibril and Logos. Their initial battle strategy for war seems to be failing, but because Orb has an impressive military presence, they want the Orb Union to fight at the Black Sea. On board the Gertie Lou, the team is trying to get Stella to go to sleep in the cradle, but she doesn't want to give up the handkerchief that Shin gave her. Remember that the cradle wipes out the biological CPU's memories so they are more stable. Remember, EFF doesn't see these biological CPUs as human. It seems she doesn't want to forget about Shin. Neo wonders if he would be better without any memories. He and the group of scientists ponder on how perhaps the biological CPUs are living a more purposeful and efficient life than those with memories. While this actually is a great moment about if one's experience in life is a burden or a blessing. I think if the show lets this idea breathe a little bit, it could really be... Oh, we're done? We're done? We're moving on? Hein gets situated on board Minerva, while Orb heads towards their Black Sea base with the Takamikazuchi. Back at Neo's ship, he is informed of the current Orb Union team heading towards the Black Sea, and they must assist Orb. Stella wakes up and has no memories of where the handkerchief came from. She leaves it behind. The Minerva Team Faith members are being briefed on the current situation. Talia also tells Athrun that the Orb military will be present during the battle. Athrun makes one of those anime gaspy noises. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's it. While prepping for launch, Athrun calls Shin a bitch again, but this time he understands where he is coming from and empathizes with him. The Minerva rushes towards Orb Fleet. They lock onto the flagship vessel with their Tannhauser cannon. Right before the cannon goes off, a beam saber takes out the Tannhauser. From above, our Lord and Savior. No, not that Savior. Yeah, that Savior. Our Lord and Savior has returned, Jesus Yamato. The fire control system was offline when the Tannhauser was destroyed on Minerva. They work to get things operational again and land in the water in the time being. The Archangel makes its way on the battlefield. Kigali launches from the Archangel near Strike Rouge Otori. The Strike Rouge Otori is the mobile suit that we've seen in the original Seed series, but with the Otori Striker Pack. Otori Striker's flight system is a vast improvement as it is capable of powered flight in the atmosphere compared to the L Striker Pack. The pack is equipped with a beam saber, railgun, large anti-ship sword, missile launcher, and several ring-mounted missiles. This is a new unit for me as this is my first run through with the HD Remastered Edition. I believe in its original run, it was simply an L Striker pack attached to the Rouge. She sends a message to Orb Fleet begging to withdraw from battle. Unit denies knowing Kigali, which leads his own fleet to question his very little authority he has. The Orb Fleet fires on the Archangel. Luckily, Kira does his thing and eliminates all surface-to-air missiles. The Phantom Pain team launches along with Hein on the Minerva. He launches in his Goof Ignited. The ZGMF-2000 Goof Ignited stands for Guardian of Unity Forerunner. The Goof lost the bid at Zaft to the Zaku for the mass-produced mobile suit of choice. However, the performance was so good that when Zaft shifted its focus to Earth-based warfare, they decided to reduce the Goof. It does not utilize the wizard system like the Zaku, and it uses a standard flight pack. It is equipped with a Slayer Whip heat rod, a shield beam gun, beam sword, and a 500mm recoilless rifle. While Orb engage in battle with the Archangel, the Minerva team go after the Phantom Pain team. Kira does damage control. Kigali retreats as Watfield joins the battle in his Murasame. Kira focuses his attention onto Zaft. He takes out Shin's arm. Hein and Stella are fighting when Kira intervenes and takes out Hein's arm. Hein goes in to attack Kira, but Stella goes in to attack both Hein and Kira. She uses her beam saber to take out Hein. That was too quick for either the viewer like me or Athrun to care about his death, but Athrun will use this as fuel to be mad at Kira. The Archangel and Minerva retreat for now. Back on Minerva, Athrun wants to go on his own mission to figure out why the Archangel and Freedom handled this situation the way they did. As a Faith member, Talia can't forbid him to go, but gives her blessing anyways. Athrun happens to run into Midiadia or Midi Ha, a former Archangel crew member. Athrun asks her to try to connect them with the Archangel crew somehow, so Athrun can talk to them. One day, I might make a video about how the Archangel has a Japanese onsen on board, but for now, I'm going to ignore it. They did a barrel roll in the first season. How does the water stay? Nope, I'm ignoring it. The Archangel receives a cryptic message from Midi in regards to meeting with Athrun. Of course, Kira and Kigali decide to go by themselves. Meanwhile, it seems that Luna Maria is spying on Athrun. Shin and Rei are assigned a mission by Talia to go out and investigate a possible nearby outpost that they received intel on. Kigali, Midi, Kira, and Athrun meet at a random location. Kira tells Athrun that Lacus was almost assassinated by coordinators. Athrun still wants to fight with Zaft regardless of the possibility that Durandal might be up to something. Shin and Rei make it to an unknown outpost and search the building on foot. They stumble onto a lab. When Rei sees it, he has a panic attack. Athrun still wants to fight with Zaft regardless of the possibility that Durandal might be up to something. This is horrible. Athrun, you are being dumb right now. Back at the outpost, the entire Minerva team goes to investigate and is horrified by what they find. This seems to be the lab where they created biological CPUs. Horrendous experimentations, along with a survival of the fittest mindset, leads to a very focused and efficient soldier, but at a cost. Al is having a little freak out when he finds out that Zaft is at the base where they were tested on. He keeps crying out to Mother and wonders if Mother is dead. This triggers Stella's trigger word. These are conditional words that helps keep the biological CPU in check, but when used too much can cause abnormal effects. Stella's word is death, Al's is mother, and Sting is dream. Triggering the word death somehow helps Stella retain the memories of Shin. She goes out in Gaia Gundam while everyone is distracted by Owl's panic attack. Minerva picks up on Gaia. Shin and Athrun go out and attack. Shin uses his beam saber to make a convenient slash right through the cockpit. It is there that Shin realizes that the pilot and thief of Gaia Gundam is Stella. Shin is shocked to find out that the pilot of Gaia Gundam is Stella. Panicked, he brings her on board the Impulse Gundam and the Minerva. He brings her directly to the medbay and says the word death, activating her trigger word. She starts choking out the medic, but they are able to apprehend her. Talia reprimands Shin for his actions. They head back down to the medbay, where the doctors have figured out that she is one of the extended and a biological CPU. She wakes up and goes mad. Shin tries to get her to recognize him, but she doesn't have any memories. There is a weird insinuation that Stella is a loss, and Neo sees Stella as more than that. I have no idea what is implied here. I assume a mentor role, but then you have moments like this.
何もないとは思うが、あとを頼むな。
So who knows? Anyways, Stella wakes up and eventually remembers Shin. Watfield sees that tomorrow will be the last day to see Mir Campbell, the fake Lacus, live on Earth before the end of her tour. Watfield and Lacus use this as an opportunity to sneak back onto the plants. They go out pretending to be the fake Lacus and steal her shuttle. But Mir shows up and claims the other Lacus is the fake. The shuttle takes off, but Zaft's base sends out mobile suits to take out the shuttle. Luckily, Kida in the Freedom comes in and incapacitates the units. Lacus promises to return to Kida as she goes into space. Zaft goes to investigate the shuttle, but they are gone. They were picked up by the former Klein faction and her ship, the Eternal. On the Minerva, Luna Maria is given a debriefing on her mission to spy on Athrun. She is haunted by the fact that she heard them mentioning that Lacus is fake and coordinators tried to kill the real Lacus. When they were on shore leave, she saw the fake Lacus with Athrun. Athrun said it wasn't what it seems. Luna Maria is starting to understand what Athrun actually meant. Meanwhile, Kida brings Midi to the Archangel. She is joining the team again. Orb forces are trying to head off the Minerva around Crete. Their forces begin to converge. Everyone preps for launch. Impulse and Savior head out on Minerva. Impulse launches with the Blast Silhouette pack. This pack is designed for long-range bombardment. It also has a beam javelin for close-range combat. It has thrusters to allow it to hover in Earth atmosphere. Kigali does sad face, while the Archangel decides to intervene in the Battle of Creek. On the Archangel, Freedom and Strike Rouge launch. Al and Shin fight one another. Athrun is sad that he is killing Orb pilots, but he is still killing them. 12 Murasamis approach Minerva. Rei and Luna Maria are guarding the ship with their mobile suits. The ship is still taking damage. Athrun comes in to help, but Chaos and Abyss distract them. One Murasami comes in to destroy the bridge of the Minerva, but Kira comes in to save the day. Kira takes out Chaos Gundam's thrusters. Meanwhile, Shin throws his javelin and destroys Abyss, killing Al. Minerva decides to treat the Archangel as an enemy. Kigali is still trying to get troops to stop fighting, but it is fruitless. Luna Maria's Zaku goes down, but she is still alive. One Murasami pilot kamikazes on the Minerva and takes out most of its weapons. Shin equips the sword Silhouette, while Kida and Athrun yell each other's name. Kida uses his beam saber to incapacitate Savior Gundam. Meanwhile, in the Takemikazuchi, Tadaka tells everyone to abandon ship, including Yuna. He tells the crew to go to the Archangel. He plans on taking out Minerva himself. Now, why does this matter? So Tadaka is an Atha loyalist. You've seen him throughout the series saying things like, "Why are we fighting?" People seem to do that a lot in this series. But most importantly, when Shin's family died at the Battle of Orb, Tadaka was there for him when Shin had no one. So anyways, Shin comes in and murders him. I think the writers of this show wanted this to be more of an emotional payoff than it actually was. Back at the Archangel, there are a lot more men now, due to the people who fled the Takemikazuchi.
Dude, why are you guys all on the bridge? Go to like a meeting room or something.
After the battle, Shin goes to visit Stella. Her condition is getting worse and they don't know what to give her to keep her alive. After that battle, Shin seems to have lost faith in Athrun. He calls him weak and says that perhaps he was stronger in the past. Shin overhears Talia talking about giving Stella to Zaf scientists before her inevitable death. Shin and Athrun run into one another. This time, Shin calls Athrun a bitch and tells him to get his shit together this time. Later that night, Shin decides to get Stella some help. He knocks out the medic by punching her in the stomach, which isn't possible. You can't make someone go to sleep by hitting them in the stomach. This seems to be an anime trope of sorts. He rolls her out, but security in the hangar stops him. Ray comes in to help Shin. He seems to empathize with these bio-CPUs. Is this dude a clone? I think this dude might be a clone. Shin goes out and sends an encoded message for Neo to meet. She gives back Stella and has Neo promise him that she must never pilot a mobile suit again. Neo promises him. When he returns to Minerva, he is arrested. Ray was also arrested for helping. Both are thrown into the brig. Back at EA, Stella and Stinger get in their cradle while Neo preps a new mobile suit and plans on having Stella pilot it. He broke that promise to Shin real quick. Stella launches in the X-1 Destroy. The GF-AS X-1 Destroy Gundam is a huge mobile suit. The average mobile suit is about 20-ish meters, while the Destroy is a whopping 56 meters. The purpose of this mobile suit? Well, to destroy. Destruction. Mass destruction. The suit has a backpack that extends over their face similar to the Forbidden Gundam when in mobile armor mode. When in this mode, it looks very similar to Big Zam from the original series. Similar in size as well. The Gundam acronym for this unit stands for Gigantic Unilateral Numerous Dominating Ammunition Fortress. So dumb. Stop trying to fit everything into Gundam. This thing has so many beam cannons, Vulcans, as well as a positron reflector shield which we saw on the Gelsgi. It heads towards the Eurasian area, specifically Berlin, and starts obliterating cities. Meanwhile, Shin was given no punishment for his actions, certainly by the hands of Durandal. The Archangel gets data on this mobile suit. Kida decides to head out to battle. Freedom engages with the giant Destroy Gundam. Kogali and some Murasame pilots launch. They take care of Chaos Gundam, while Kira focuses on Destroy. Minerva is sent to the battlefield. Luna Maria and Atherin's mobile suits are still extremely damaged. Only Shin goes out. Shin starts attacking Destroy, but Neo in his Windom comes in and tells Shin that Stella is piloting the Destroy. Kira takes out Neo's flight system. He crashes, but he survives. The Murasame team takes out Chaos Gundam. All of Stella's teammates are down. Neo told her that if anything goes wrong, to kill everything. She goes berserk. Shin is able to calm her down for a moment, but once she sees Freedom, she begins to panic and charges her mini beam cannons. Kira says "F this" and handles business. He uses his beam saber to take down Destroy Gundam, killing Stella. The Archangel crew find Neo passed out without his mask on. It just so happens to be Mu LaFlaga. Gasp! I didn't see that one coming. Shin gives Stella a somewhat proper burial. He is upset with himself that he couldn't protect her. Shin engages with a simulation of the Freedom based off the data that it collected. Atherin seems to be confused about what side of the war he signed up for. Shin and Ray try to remind him. Shin is on a mission to get revenge on Freedom for the death of Stella. Meanwhile, back on the Archangel, they find out that the man known as Neo has the exact same DNA as Mu LaFlaga. Remius is struggling to be around the prisoner. Chairman Durandal broadcasts a message to the world. He shows the world of the devastating actions that the Alliance caused in Eurasia and how the people of Eurasia now see the Alliance as a monster. They also show footage of the Battle of Berlin. The footage has been edited to erase Freedom and the Archangel from existence on the battlefield. Durandal allows Mir Campbell, the fake Lacus, to give a speech to boost the morale of the people. Durandal ends his speech by doxing all of the members of Logos. He says that Zaf's true intentions are to prevent Logos from perpetuating war over and over again. The Archangel is unsure still of what Durandal's true intentions are. They decide that they need to return to Orb, but Zaft is on their trail. They plan for Operation Angel Down to finally take care of Archangel. Kira launches and protects the Archangel while they are being attacked by a Compton-class ship. The Compton-class ship is the upgraded version of the Lesseps-class ship. Unlike the Lesseps, the Compton uses Caterpillar Trails. It has a triple cannon, a twin cannon, a rotary gun, and a missile launcher. Most of these ships were deployed on the Eurasian front and were destroyed by the Destroy Gundam in the Battle of Berlin. This ship is what remains of the Compton class. The Minerva makes its way towards the battle. Atherin is against fighting the Archangel. However, even his position as a Faith member can't prevent Operation Angel Down from happening. The Minerva makes their way towards the Archangel. Shin launches the Impulse Gundam. As they round the corner, the Archangel and Minerva meet face to face. The Archangel maneuvers out of the way. See, this is what I'm talking about. Does all the water from the Japanese onsen just splash all over the place? Makes no sense. Talia sends a message to the Archangel that they will cease fire if they surrender. However, Ramius declines their offer. During their decline, Talia realizes that the captain is the person who helped fix their ship when at Orb. Freedom is being distracted by Shin and can't help out the Archangel. Kira doesn't aim at cockpits. Shin uses this to his opportunity. Minerva sends out another force silhouette while using the current silhouette to attack Freedom. Shin is getting the upper hand. Minerva sends out the sword silhouette. Shin uses his sword and impales Freedom. It goes down in flames. Meanwhile, Minerva uses its Tannhauser and takes down the Archangel. Atherin watches this all go down. The Archangel detaches from a part of its own hull and detonates it, making it seem like they blew up. Meanwhile, Kigali in the Strike Rouge goes out and picks up the remains of Kira's cockpit. Everyone congratulates Shin on his victory. Shin and Atherin get in a fight. Rey stands up for Shin and calls Atherin a bitch this time. Everyone visits Kira in the medbay. They wonder what they will do with Neo Laflaga. Minerva makes its way back to Gibraltar. Shin and Atherin meet with Durandal. He shows the two pilots the top-of-the-line mobile suits, the Destiny and Legend. The ZGMF X-42S Destiny Gundam is a mobile suit designed with technologies banned from the Junius Treaty. This Gundam is based off of Impulse Gundam's battle data to be more maneuverable. Its frame is broken up into tinier pieces, similar to that of the Strike Freedom. More on that later. Destiny uses the Vulture Lumiere propulsion system, which is originally used by the Stargazer system. If you made it this far in the video, you get the knowledge of knowing that our Stargazer video will probably be out on Wednesday. The one on Destiny's wings is a combat variant that uses internal laser instead of solar winds or external power beam, and convert its energy into a strong light pressure, which then uses thrust. The system generates a light effect known as wings of light when activated for high-speed movements. It also enables the creation of after images when used alongside the Mirage colloid system. Lots of illegal tech being used here. The ZGMF X666S Legend Gundam is the evolution of the Providence Gundam and inherits its Dragoon system. Durandal is gifting these two units to Atherin and Shin, but Atherin's heart seems to be no longer in it. This is technically the third stage mobile suit development plan, where Abyss, Chaos Impulse, and Savior were a part of the second stage. Both Legend and Destiny have the Hyper Deuterium engine, which utilizes the Deuterium beam energy transfer system. Minerva and Zaft are gathering at Gibraltar and planning an attack on Heaven's base, the Alliance's closest base from Gibraltar. Durandal meets with Rey. Mir Campbell is there as well. She overhears them talking about framing Atherin with a crime, since his ties with the Archangel seems to be too strong. Mir goes to warn Atherin, but it is too late. Security comes to his door. He takes them down, and he tries to escape with Mir, but she is crazy and thinks she is the actual Laxus. He stumbles into Miren's room. Miren is the communications specialist on board and is also Luna Maria's sister. Maiden helps Atherin escape. She hacks into the base and sets off the alarm as a decoy. They head towards the hangar and try to steal the goof ignited. Rey tries to stop them before they make their escape. Shin and Rey get into the Legend and Destiny. Rey tells Shin the enemy is Atherin. Zaft finds out that the hack came from Marin's room. Durandal calls Rey and asks if Marin was with Atherin. He tells him yes, and that he thinks that she is helping Atherin. Durandal orders the two to shoot down the goof, even with Mirren on board. They begin to fight. Athrun tries to convince Shin not to fight, but he does so and takes out the goof. Luna Maria is informed that her sister was killed in action. Zaft begin Operation Ragnarok, their attack on Heaven's base. I see what they did there. The Archangel picks up a message from Gibraltar. They are demanding that Heaven's base relinquishes all members of the Logos, and all forces are to immediately disarm and abandon the base. If Heaven's base falls, then Orb Union will most likely be the next target. Everyone preps for the battle. Lord Gibril gives a generic speech about controlling the masses. On board Minerva, Luna Maria and Shin have a cry and hug, and then they kiss over the loss of Marin. Ew. The Alliance sends out everything they have. One unit that we see here is Forbidden Vortex, the GAT-707E. Forbidden Vortex is similar to the Forbidden Gundam Blue. Its key players are the Phonon Maser Cannon and the Geschmeidig Panzer. Another is the Euclid. The TS-MB-1B Euclid took their data from both the Gelsky and the Zamzaza and made a new mass-produced mobile armor. It has 2 7-barrel Gatling machine guns and 2 high-energy beam cannons, but the biggest thing that they have are the 5 destroy Gundams. Sting Oakley is piloting one of them, and I gotta tell you, thought he died during the Battle of Berlin, not gonna lie. The battle begins. The destroy Gundams do a lot of damage, and fast. Zaft starts deploying units from space. They descend onto the battlefield. Meanwhile, the Alliance whips out their secret weapon, the Nibelung anti-air cannon. The Alliance was able to take out any attack from above quite swiftly. The Minerva finally launches their mobile suits. Luna Maria is now the pilot of the Impulse Gundam. Athrun is, of course, alive and on board the Archangel. Maiden survived as well. He is too weak to move. Shin, in Destiny, activates his seed factor and does damage to the destroys and the Wyndhams that are currently attacking. Destiny destroys one of the destroys. This time, I think that Sting is dead. You never know though. One by one, the destroys go down. Zaft has the upper hand and gains control of the base. Lord Gibril decides to bail, deserting all of the other Logos members. Da Costa is exploring the abandoned Mendel colony. They think that they finally understand Durandal's true intentions. While the Archangel is getting fixed, Kida feels powerless currently. And this brings up a good point. Who is Kida without the mobile suit? He never really did have a Spider-Man moment, did he? Kigali makes sure she hits her one note in the series while comforting Athrun. In space, Lacus and the Klein faction run into some notes regarding the Destiny plan, but they are spotted by a recon Jin. They decide to take off since they have been spotted. They will try to send the data that they got on the Destiny plan to Kida on Earth. The Eternal is equipped with the Dom Trooper. The ZGMF XX09T Dom Trooper is piloted by the Klein faction and created by them along with Terminal. If you were wondering how does Lacus create all these mobile suits, it's all thanks to Terminal. The Dom Trooper also can use the Wizard system just like the Zaku. It mainly uses the Easy Wizard, which we will see used here, where they are equipped with an additional thruster and an enhanced beam saber. Athrun spaces out and yells at Kida that Lacus is the key like he is Lois Lane in the Zack Snyder film. Kida borrows the Strike Rouge with the attached Strike Booster to get it up into space. Watfield launches in the Gaia Gundam. This is the same Gaia Gundam that we seen Stella pilot originally. Kida in the Strike makes his appearance. He ejects from the booster and relies on the Otori, but he launches the Otori pack right towards some Zakus. Watfield tells Kida to go to the Eternal and get his new suit. He docks and meets with Lacus. She takes him to the hangar and gives him the Strike Freedom. The ZGMF X-20A Strike Freedom Gundam is of course more ridiculous than the original Freedom, but it is also equipped with the Dragoon system. The Dragoon system integrates with the multi-lock-on system. Remember, the Dragoon system is the Cosmic Era equivalent of funnels. Like Destiny, it also has the Volchair Lumiere propulsion system and an in-jammer canceller. The Hyper-Deuterium engine is a hybrid between the Deuterium engine and nuclear power. It also has variable phase shift armor and can use the meteor units. Kira launches in the Strike Freedom and handles business. He's able to disable 3 Nazca-class ships and a series of Zaku's and Goose. Durandal promotes Shin and Rei to Faith members. Talia is mad at Durandal for the way that he handled the situation with Athrun and Mirren. Zaft finds out that Jibril is actually hiding out in Orb. Specifically, the Seirin family is harboring him. Meanwhile, Unisaiden sends a message saying that they don't have them. Great move, dude. Great move. Zaft, of course, attacks Orb. They also attack the Seirin estate. Kigali wants to launch in the Skygrasper, but Colonel Kisaka and Etika tell her to go with him. Uzumi left a message to Kigali that if Orb happens to run into a scorched earth situation, then use this mobile suit to protect the nation. That mobile suit is the Akatsuki Gundam. The Orb 01 Akatsuki Gundam is an Orb prototype Gundam that I guess you could consider Orb's final form for the Strike Gundam and the Striker Pack system. Its gold color is reserved for Orb's ruling class and is known as Yata no Kagami. Yata no Kagami is a Japanese myth that represents a bronze mirror, a part of the imperial regalia of Japan. While in Earth atmosphere, the Akatsuki is equipped with the Uwashi Sky Pack, which allows the unit to fly in Earth atmosphere. Later we will see Nia Laflaga use the Shiranui Space Pack in space. The shiny paint is able to reflect and deflect beam tech. This unit is also heavily influenced by the Hyakushiki from Universal Century. Of course, Kigali has herself a little cry session before heading out. She launches with a team of Murasames. They start defending Orb. She sends a message to Orb headquarters to tell them to arrest Yuna for his treason. The Minerva makes its way to Orb. Shin decides to go out alone. He launches and is met with Kigali and the Akatsuki Gundam. Ramius gives Neo the Skygrasper to use as he is free to go and no longer a prisoner. Athrun wants Marion to get off the Archangel once they leave Orb, but she doesn't want to be left behind. Shin and Kigali begin their first fight. Shin gets the upper hand, but luckily she has the Murasames to help her out. Shin takes down the Murasames with ease and focuses his attention on Kigali again. He takes out one of the Akatsuki's arm. Suddenly Kira in the Strike Freedom comes down and helps out. Also with him is Lacus in the Infinite Justice Gundam. The ZGMF X-19A Infinite Justice Gundam is the successor to the Justice and is created based off of all of Athrun's flight data. This Gundam is specifically designed for him to pilot. Like the Strike Freedom, this mobile suit also has an in-jammer canceller, Hyper-Deuterium engine, and can use the Meteor system. This Justice also has the Phantom 01. Like the 00, this drastically improves mobility and can be detached to ride on. Lacus takes the Justice to the Archangel for Athrun, while Kira continues helping out Orb. Stormtroopers come down from space as well. These are piloted by Lacus loyalists, Hilda Harkin, Mars Simeon, and Herbert von Reinhardt. They resemble in many ways the Black Tri-Stars from the original Mobile Suit Gundam. Kira and Shin fight, but Rei tells Shin to retreat for now. Kigali runs into the government building and punches Yuna. She asks him where Jibril is, but he doesn't tell her. Meanwhile, Athrun spends the entire episode staring at Infinite Justice. Nia Laflaga in the Skygrasper also comes in and helps the Archangel. Wait, they gave a former prisoner a loaded Skygrasper with missiles and everything? What if you just gave him the Skygrasper and he ends up murdering you? I know it works out in the end, but that was not a good move. Shin refuels, and this time Destiny and Legend both launch. Athrun finally stops staring at the thing and starts piloting Infinite Justice. Kira takes on both Destiny and Legend. The Skygrasper does an emergency landing on the Archangel. Athrun comes in and helps out Kira. He tells Shin to stop being a bitch, but Rei comes in and attacks Athrun. Back on Orb, Yuna gets crushed by a goof. Womp womp. Athrun is able to get the upper hand on Shin. A shuttle takes off. It is Jibril. Luna Maria launches in the Core Splendor and tries to intercept the shuttle. However, it makes its escape back into space. The Zaft flagship is destroyed, which means Talia and the Minerva are assuming command of this mission. She recognizes they are at a disadvantage and decide to retreat. Athrun is injured really badly. he gets thrown back into the medbay. Kigali makes an official statement about the actions on Orb, but her broadcast is cut short by the fake Lacus, trying to sway the people. But then, the real Lacus does a reverse Uno on Zaft and interrupts their broadcast. She lets the world know that she is the real Lacus. She tells the world that Durandal has a secret plan that he seems to be hiding from his people. Durandal tells Mir that she should probably keep a low profile. The Minerva is ordered to head towards the moon. Jibril plans on using the Requiem, a giant space laser on the moon. He plans on taking out Aprilius 1, Zaft's capital. Ray doesn't believe anything that Orb has to say and brushes it off as propaganda. Ray then tells Luna Maria that Atherin was piloting the red mobile suit and that he is alive. She wonders if Marin is also alive. Durandal heads towards Messiah, a Zaft mobile fortress. Izak and Diarca go out to investigate. They run into some Wyndhams near some colony bits. The Requiem fires. It uses the colony bits, which curve the beam and aim it towards the plants. It takes out plants such as Januarius, but misses the capital. Jibril plans on a second attack on the plants. The Minerva makes their way towards the Alliance moonbase. The Minerva team launches along with Izak and Diarca. The Alliance launches Destroy Gundams, but Shin is able to take them out relatively easy now. Jibril plans to make his retreat while the second shot of the Requiem goes off. He and some Alliance members attempt to escape on the Gertie Lu class ship, but Ray notices and destroys it, killing Jibril. Luna Maria is able to take down the lunar base. The Archangel plans on making its way out to the lunar city, Copernicus, but Kigali will not be joining them. She salutes them as they make their way towards space. The Archangel makes its way to the lunar city. Back at Aprilius 1, Mir is lying low and doing a little sad girl singing. Meanwhile, it's time for a little shopping montage. Mir's Haro gives them a note saying that Mir needs help. It is an obvious trap, but they still need to go help her. They go to meet with her at her compound. She claims to be the real Lacus and pulls a gun on them, but Atherin shoots the gun out of her hand. That happens a lot in this show. There should be people missing more fingers. Lacus gives a speech to Mir, but snipers try to shoot her. They get to cover and begin a shootout. They are able to take out most of the mercs. Mu comes in to help them out. They make their escape, but Mir sees that one of the mercs is still alive and about to shoot Lacus. She saves Lacus, but is shot in the process. They take out the remaining merc. Mir shows Lacus a picture of what she looked like before her glow-up and dies in her arms. The Destiny plan is revealed to the world in a propaganda video. Essentially, it is a program where every single human's genetic information is used to provide the perfect job for said human based off of their genes. Hell yeah, fuck your free will, bitches. Ray is really into Durandal's plan. He cockblocks Shin so he could tell him how strong he is. Okay. Orb officially rejects this plan, of course. Durandal recognizes that the Alliance no longer has any leadership now, and that Logos is taken care of. It is now a matter of attrition, so Durandal is ready to make a big move. Now that Zaft is in control of Requiem, he decides to fire it on the Alliance's lunar base on the other side of the moon. It takes out the base, killing the President in the process. The Archangel makes its way towards the battlefield to destroy the Requiem. They are with the Three Ships faction, like the previous war. However, this time, they have the power of the Orb Union to help them. Justice and Freedom launch. They are equipped with their meteor units. Lacus sends a message to the world telling them that they are going to destroy the Requiem, for it is a weapon of mass destruction. Lacus intends on doing this by using weapons of mass destruction. Meanwhile, Shin and Ray meet Durandal. Shin is finally having a little bit of self-doubt. He reflects on when Ray told him that he was a clone. Unlike Raul Crusette, who wanted to destroy the world for being a clone, Ray seems to be content with what he is. Neo LaFlaga launches in the Akatsuki. The Dom Troopers launch as well. Luna Maria launches from Minerva. Izak and Diarca heads towards the battlefield. The Minerva fires its Tannhauser at the Archangel, but Mu is able to deflect it, similar to how he saved the ship from the Dominion 2 years ago. Station 1, one of the colony bits that curves the Requiem, is destroyed. The asteroid base Messiah makes its way towards the moon and fires Neogenesis. It takes out big chunks of the fleet. Legend and Destiny launch from the Messiah. Atherin fights Shin. Izak decides to help out, but only helps out the Eternal because it is a Zaft ship. While fighting, Rey realizes that his purpose as a clone of Aldeflaga is to become the new Ral Le Creuset. Athrun calls him a bitch and to stop using the past to justify his fighting. Athrun takes out Impulse Gundam, incapacitating Shin. Freedom is able to incapacitate Rey in the Legend as well. Messiah loses contact with both mobile suits and preps Neo Genesis to attack Orb. Both Akatsuki and Justice are able to destroy Neo Genesis from going off. Meanwhile, the Minerva is about to go down. Talia tells everyone to abandon ship while she goes to talk to Durandal. Kira breaks into the Messiah and finds Durandal. They point guns at each other while monologuing. Rey sneaks onto Messiah and ends up shooting Durandal. Why? Because he said that he is Rao now, so he has to do everything that Rao did? I don't know. This is really, let's say, an interesting writing choice. So first, Kira said 2 sentences in front of Rey, and apparently that was enough to move Rey into shooting Durandal. Okay? In this moment, Rey and Talia decide to stay with Durandal as he dies and the Messiah goes down. Now it is insinuated that throughout the whole series that Talia and Durandal have had a relationship on and off in the past. Talia also mentions that she has a son as well, but she chooses to stay with Durandal instead of, try to get back to her son. Doesn't seem very motherly. And I'm not going to touch the weird mother role she is taking with Rey in these final moments as well. But if I had to guess, Talia referred to Durandal and herself as Rey's parents because she knew he was a clone, and that would probably be something that he would want to hear before he dies. If that is true, that is a very nice sentiment that she should probably be using on her actual child. This is some pretty bad writing. Kira and Athrun make their escape from the Messiah. Lacus sends a message to all remaining Zaft forces recommending that they all cease fire. Meanwhile, on the moon, look at this loser. Going to cry because you lost, loser? Yeah, cry it out, loser. Everyone stops fighting. Over the next few months, Orb and Zaft came to a peace agreement. During these negotiations, Lacus acted as a mediator between the two nations. After the peace negotiations, Lacus Clyne finally returned to the plants after years of being an enemy of the state. Later on Orb, Kira and Shin finally meet each other for the first time. Kira invites Shin to come and fight with them. We end the series with Kira wearing a Zaft commander uniform, going up to the plants to meet with Lacus, who seems to be the new Zaft Supreme Chairman. And that will do it for the Cosmic Era 73 and Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Destiny. Wow, this was a bad one. Kigali literally has nothing to do in the last half of the series and barely spoke, so much so that rumors about the director Fukada having an affair with the voice actress started arising. Also, as much as I do not like Shin, he should have been the focus of the show, and bringing in Lacus and Kira as the focus of the story was a bad decision. I see the term authoritarian pacifist thrown around in regards to Kira and the way they wrote Kira and the Archangel crew. That term makes a lot of sense. They just come off as terrorists, but we are supposed to root for them? I don't know if I want to. Also, a personal gripe, I don't know why, but the gold accents on the Strike Freedom really bugged me. So when I saw the Rising Freedom and Gundam Seed Freedom trailer, I was relieved by the color palette. I dig the white accents so much more than the gold. The next week leading up to the release of Gundam Seed Freedom will be all things Cosmic Era. We still have the Astray OVA as well as CE73 Stargazer. I will also be doing a breakdown of the Gundam Seed Freedom trailer and what we should be expecting going into the movie. But that will do it for now. Remember, new types, you too can also be a commander in 2 armies if you practice authoritarian pacifism. Peace.